In high school, where the 5-2 Vikings are going to play host to the 3-4 Sycamore Aviators, and a big matchup tonight in the GMC with lots of playoff implications, Glenn.
Yeah, Dave, this promises to be an epic GMC tilt. Sycamore is projecting to make the playoffs according to the local expert Steve Shuck, who's also the GMC commissioner, for those of you who didn't know that. But they've got to win this game in order to make that a reality. If they lose, they could be on the outside looking in. Princeton needs to continue to win to get into that tough Division II Region 8 section here.
Absolutely. Colerain, of course, leading the GMC, undefeated overall at 7-0 and undefeated in conference play at 4-1. They've got a big matchup tonight with second place Fairfield. But the game we're concerned with is Sycamore at Princeton tonight. Last week, Sycamore shut out a struggling Lakota East team 28-0. Princeton, however, took a stumble.
Yeah, Princeton fell behind 21-0 in the first half to the Hamilton Big Blue, ended up scoring 2 touchdowns late in the game, Dave. By then it was too little too late. The damage was done. So a little bit of a mild upset in my mind. Hamilton's much improved this year. They've got a lot of seniors on their team, but really thought this high-flying Vikings offense would take it to the Big Blue, and that's not the way that game turned out.
You talk about the season start. Sycamore starts out 0-2, gets on a winning streak, and then they run into the Colerain juggernaut.
Yeah, Sycamore, 2 close overtime games to open the season. One of the season opener against defending State 2 champion LaSalle. Then got on a little bit of a winning streak, and then right after Sycamore defeated the aforementioned Hamilton Big Blue, ran into the Colerain Cardinals on a short week and ended up losing 52-7. Rayvon Bonner, who we'll talk about a lot tonight, limited 80 yards in that game, and as we'll talk about again throughout the night, as Rayvon Bonner goes, the Sycamore Aviators go, and Colerain did a good job of bottling him up.
And this is a big matchup for Sycamore, as we mentioned. They're 3-4 coming into this ball game. They really can't afford to lose another one, can they?
No, not at all. And last week they fell to Fairfield after leading most of the game. So really Sycamore is going to need to win out, and that starts here tonight at Mancuso Field at Vikings Stadium.
Now Princeton, on the other hand, benefited 4 straight home games and didn't lose until, again, they run into the Colerain juggernaut.
It's just amazing the impact that Colerain has on that GMC schedule and on these teams. And Princeton had been flying high up until the Colerain Cardinals come to town. And again, offense gets shut down with that tough Cardinal defense.
Well, let's talk about some of the players to watch in the matchup tonight. Let's start with Sycamore. Who you got?
Jake Borman is the Sycamore quarterback. He's currently 4th in the GMC in passing, 1,162 passing yards. He's benefited from a talented cast at the skill positions, including Rayvon Bonner. Bonner comes in leading the GMC with 1,100 rushing yards, and that's 1,100 on the dot. That's not an approximation, 1,100 on the dot. The next closest back for point of comparison is Eric Jackson over at the Hamilton Big Blue, just under 900. Bonner recently announced he'll be taking his talents to Champaign and the University of Illinois to play for Lovie Smith. So maybe some UC fans upset here that thought they might have a chance to grab him. Defensively for Sycamore, keep an eye out for Grant Young. He's one of their defensive leaders, 24 solo tackles, 29 assists, sack and a half, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. He really has a nose for the ball, Dave.
And flipping over to the homestanding Princeton Vikings, who are you looking for there?
Offensively, it starts and stops with Solomon Reed, the quarterback. He's got 1,300 passing yards, 17 touchdowns so far this season, also a pair of touchdowns on the ground. He won the job in camp and has done a great job showing leadership from that quarterback position. Defensively, you've got guys that are going to have to step up and stop Rayvon Bonner in this Sycamore rushing attack. That task is going to fall to the entire defense, but keep an eye on defensive end Jamal Hines. 28 solo tackles, 11 assists, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. He's the guy that's going to be tasked with keeping an eye on Bonner all night, I think.
Taking a look at the starters for each team, we'll kick it off with Sycamore again. Who are you looking at there?
We've talked about Borman and Bonner already. 2 things to watch here. They have a very good and very big offensive line that's going to open up holes for Bonner and protect him. Also keep an eye on Kadeem Fall and Jonathan Mack. They're Borman's 2 favorite receiving targets at this point in the season. Defensively, keep an eye on Johnny Bothan. He has 2 interceptions and a team-leading 31 tackles. He's a real ball hawk.
And for Princeton?
Tyree Mills. He's going to take the most handoffs from Solomon Reed. He's averaging 5.6 yards a carry. C.J. Henderson, one of their favorite receiving targets, has 25 catches on the year and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, Terrence Smith and Raymond Kozlowski each have 3 interceptions, so if Borman goes to the air, keep an eye on those 2 Vikings on defense.
Now, we touched on this a little bit earlier. This is really kind of a must-win game for both of these ball clubs. So tell me what each one has to do to dominate tonight and come out of here with a W.
Yeah, Dave, in my opinion, offensively for Sycamore, Rayvon Bonner has gotten his yards every year, but the Coleraine game we talked about, Princeton defensively is going to be ready for him. So the task falls on Coach Scott Datillo, Sycamore's head coach, and also their offensive coordinator. He's going to have to strive to keep his play calling balance and let Borman find his receiving targets out on the ends if the Vikings are successful in bottling up Bonner. For Princeton, they're going to have to get off to a quick start. They can't fall behind like we talked about they did against Hamilton last week. Sycamore has shown they can give up a lot of points, but they're going to rely on their offense to keep them in games. So Princeton is going to have to score some points early.
And defensively for Princeton, the key has to be stop Rayvon Bonner.
Yeah, if you don't stop Rayvon Bonner, it's going to be a long night. If they can prove early on they can limit him to a reasonable amount of yards, our secondary can focus on covering Borman's receiving targets, the guys we just talked about, Kadeem Fell and Jonathan Mack. For the Aves, their secondary is going to have to go toe-to-toe with these very skilled Princeton receivers. Solomon Reed's not a huge rushing threat on the stat sheet at least, so if they can bottle up the Vikings' very deep rushing attack, and it's not just running backs, they do some motion across the field, get their receivers and fast guys involved with touching their ball. If they can bottle that up, they can focus on taking away Reed's passing game. And he's no slouch. He's second in the GMC with 1,341 passing yards.
A lot of passing yards coming into this ball game. Let's take a moment now and give me your prediction for the ball game.
I'm not going to offer a true prediction because normally whatever I say doesn't seem to happen. But I'll tell you this, if Princeton can keep their offense on the field in order to limit Bonner, they have a chance to win this game and spoil Sycamore's playoff hopes. For Sycamore to win, they have to be on their game against Princeton's passing game, win the battle in the trenches on both sides of the ball. They have to open up holes for Bonner, protect Borman offensively. Defensively, they're going to have to get the Vikings ball carriers, or get to the Vikings ball carriers, not let them turn the corners and turn that routine 3 to 4 yard gain into a long carry.
Well, I know we were talking earlier, you're 0-2 in picks right now. I think I'm 1-1, but I'm probably going to have to go with the team that probably needs this win a little bit more. I'm going to pick the underdog. I'm going to go with Sycamore tonight.
All right, sounds great.
It's all coming up next right here on ICRC-TV Sports. Stick around.
She has also played varsity soccer for the past 3 years, as well as participated.
And we welcome you to Princeton High School, where tonight the homestanding Princeton Vikings will play host to the Sycamore Aviators. Hi again, everybody, alongside my partner and pal, Glenn Olson. I am Dave Borst. And, Glenn, we talked a little bit in the pregame show about what a big matchup this is in the GMC tonight. Really kind of a must-win for both teams.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are trying to continue their winning ways. They both need to continue winning to ensure they can get enough playoff points to go on and play in Week 11 here in Ohio. Unfortunately, as has been the case in the GMC for the last 16 years or so, everybody's looking up to Coleraine, who is loaded as usual and maybe even more so this year, Dave. Currently ranked, I believe, number 5, number 6 in the country. So we'll pause for our national anthem and get back to the game here in just a moment.
Nice rendition of the Star Spangled Banner by the Princeton Viking High School Marching Band and the junior ROTC color guard this evening. An impressive senior night ceremony before the game. That's a whole bunch of seniors.
I am still amazed they were able to get through all those athletes and cheerleaders and and band members before the pregame clock ran out. So kudos to our PA announcer and a scriptwriter for timing that one pretty well. And kudos, as you said, to the Princeton Viking Marching Band. An excellent rendition of the national anthem.
Indeed it was, as the Sycamore Aviators are coming onto the field now. They'll be in their road white jerseys, yellow pants, yellow helmets, green trim.
This is going to be a great matchup. You have two top 5 offenses in the GMC, two top 5 defenses, Dave. Really, it's all going to come down to who does their job better. And I know that's a cliche, but as we talked about in the pregame show, Sycamore's got good offensive and defensive linemen. Offensively, they've got to open up holes for Rayvon Bonner and protect Jake Borman. Defensively, they've got to get in there and put some pressure on Princeton's Solomon Reed and try to disrupt that passing attack and slow down those running plays that Coach McLaughlin will dial up, especially as guys coming across the formation in motion. So it's going to be quite a treat tonight.
I think you're right. That's going to be a tall task trying to slow down the passing offense for Princeton as you take a look at the Vikings coming onto the field in their home gunmetal gray uniforms with the red helmets, the Viking horn logo, the white numbers. Take a look at some of Solomon Reed's numbers coming into this game. 130 attempts on the season, 82 completions, 1,321 yards, a completion percentage just a tick over 63%. That's pretty stout right there. And 10.2 yards per attempt is the average, but the number that really jumped out to me, 17 touchdown passes.
Yeah, just amazing. And most years that'd be good enough to be the best quarterback in the GMC. And it's not from Coleraine. It's a young man out at Oak Hills who's thrown for nearly 2,000 passing yards at this point in the season. 15 touchdowns, 7 picks for Jacob Boyke. I'm sorry if I'm ruining his name, but the junior quarterback out there for the Highlanders.
Princeton took care of the aforementioned Oak Hills back on September 23rd by a final score of 45-17. So they've done an excellent job that night of shutting that young man down.
Yeah, other than the Coleraine game, which no one's come close with Coleraine other than I think Mason a few weeks ago until the fourth quarter came. But halfway through the fourth quarter, they began to, let striking distance slip away from them. Princeton has not had many bad games. The Coleraine game and then falling to Hamilton last week, as we touched on in the pregame show.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the pregame show tonight. A big matchup as far as the top of the GMC tonight, and Fairfield and Coleraine going at it. Fairfield trailing them by a game in the standings in the GMC. Both Princeton and Sycamore kind of right in the middle of the pack, 2-2 in conference play. The Aviators won the toss and elected to defer, so they will kick away from the 40-yard line. 25, Leroy Wilson puts toe to the leather. Fielded at the 10.
Enoch Brookins, number 44, who returns it for Princeton, tries to go sideways instead of north-south, and not much of a gain there.
25 down about the 18-yard line, so that is where we see Solomon Reed in this vaunted passing attack and rushing attack as well for the Princeton Vikings. That's where they'll set up shop for their first offensive possession tonight.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this spread offense that Coach McLaughlin has implemented here in his first year at Princeton. He was at Reading for a couple of years, and prior to that was the offensive coordinator for the Moeller Crusaders.
Man in motion coming to the near side, and Reed is going to keep that one himself, and he's going to be dragged down for a loss. Nice play coming right up the gut by Elijah Hollis, number 9.
Yeah, watch just immediate penetration here by the Sycamore defense. And, we talked about that. They're going to have to get it done in the trenches, Sycamore is, and they're off to a good start so far. 8-yard loss. Excuse me.
Swing pass this time, and there again, Johnny on the spot. Are the Sycamore Aviators. That pass complete to number 22, C.J. Henderson, and he might have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage. They'll spot him at the 20, but it's still going to bring up a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 now, as the Vikings go a little bit of hurry up here. They've got 4 wides as they spread it out.
It was Christian Kelly, number 8, that made that last stop for the Aviators. And so far, the Aviators taking the fight to this Princeton offense, not letting them get out in space and make plays.
Indeed they are. Reed looking to throw. He's going to try to swing it out to his running back, Terrence Smith, and that one falls incomplete. So the Princeton Vikings will go 3 and out on their opening possession.
And even had that pass been complete, he wasn't going anywhere with it. You saw that the defender was right there. So as soon as he caught it, he probably would have been popped and wouldn't have been much of a gain, if any, at all.
Yeah, he didn't have any running room at all that time. As Princeton kicks it away, 2 men back deep for the Aviators. Fair catch called for and made at the 46-yard line. That's number 8, Christian Kelly. Pretty good your defensive back and wide receiver.
Pretty good punt there by Princeton senior punter Raymond Kozlowski. Nice high kick, hang time, just not very deep. But good field position here for the Aviators offense, and we'll see what Borman, Bonner, et al. Have in store for this Vikings defense, which incidentally is led by Steve Sheehan. Those of you who are football junkies remember him from Oak Hills and Cape, the Cincinnati Academy of Physical Education back in the day. And by the day, I mean the late 80s when we were young.
Yes,
Doesn't seem that far ago.
Borman in the pistol, hands off left side, out across midfield. And that was the aforementioned Raymond Bonner on the carry.
Yep. Going to get a steady dose of him tonight.
Nice pickup on first down. We'll bring up 2nd and 5.
And into Viking territory already are the Aviators after the punt that was fielded right around the 45.
Excellent field position to start and taking advantage of it on that first carry. Here comes Bonner again, right up the gut, dancing, picks up a few down to the 45 of Princeton this time, so it'll bring up a 3rd and short.
And the offensive line looks great already, as you're going to see here on the replay. Watch Bonner sidestep one defender, and one of the Viking defenders comes in, able to grab on and hang on, bring Bonner down. But the offensive line definitely did their job that time. That was Javon Daly, number 59, who got it done for the Vikings defense.
3rd and 2 for the Aves. Bonner now in an offset position. They've got 3 backs back there. This time they're going to keep it with the quarterback, and he got close to the first down. We'll see if they give him forward progress. The official on the far side of the field was going to give it to him. The official on the near side marked it a whole lot closer to that stick, and it looks like they're going to call for a measurement.
I was going to say, is the tip of the ball looks like it could very well hit the black rubber end of that yard marker. But we didn't talk about Borman in the pregame. He is a true dual threat. He can run the ball. He's obviously a good passer and has the skills to complete passes, but he's more than capable of running the ball as well, as you saw there. No measurement.
Borman coming in with 198 rushing yards on the season, and they will go for it on 4th and inches.
Can't blame him.
In the pistol, Bonner, left side. It's going to be close. It'll depend on the spot.
Not a great spot by that far official, in my opinion.
Not at all. I thought certainly had that by about half a yard, as we've got a Princeton player down near midfield.
Yeah, we're going from behind and not the side angle, but it sure looked to me like the ball got the necessary yardage, and they are moving the stick, so it is a first down, but it still, I don't think, was a great spot.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I thought he had it by at least a half a yard.
So let's take a look at it from the other angle. Good job of Bonner to keep those feet moving, and yeah, it sure looks to me like he came down right around the eyebrow of that logo, which should have been close for the first down, and of course he didn't get it, but just, yeah, the initial spot by the referee I didn't think was terribly accurate, but it's the human element of football.
Nice tackle by Quincy Dawson of Princeton, who grabbed Bonner up high and just kind of pulled him down right on top of himself.
I believe that's number 48 who was injured for the Vikings, Kelly Ikonga.
Yes. Good to see him get up and jog off under his own power. So with 8:33 remaining first quarter, and Sycamore with their first offensive possession of the game, they pick up the first down going forward on 4th and inches.
A little different formation here from the Aviators.
Again, 3 backs in the backfield. This time, handoff to Bonner, left side, a little bit of running room, drops his shoulder and gets across the 40 down to the 38-yard line.
Raymond Kozlowski hunted Bonner down and forced him out of bounds. Nice job by Kozlowski.
Good job of contain there, as it looked like Borman was going to keep it himself. Instead, turns and hands to Bonner. And kept what could have been a big-time gain at 5 yards. So to bring up second and we'll call it a short 5.
Really like that play call because you're trying to get the Vikings defense to commit early, and then Borman suddenly changes and hands the ball off to the left side.
Now looking to pass, first time tonight, under pressure, and he's going to get dropped back at the 45-yard line.
Sorry to talk over you, Dave. That's Quincy Dawson, number 17, who came in on the blind side. Borman a little slow to get up.
Indeed, as we've got an official's timeout on the field.
Quincy Dawson just in there in a hurry. Nice job by that young man.
We've already seen him make a couple of big plays this evening, as we have another Princeton player down in the defensive backfield.
And this is something you don't want to see for any athlete, but Pat McLaughlin is definitely concerned to have 2 guys come up limping this early in the game.
I believe that's Leroy Wilson.
Yes.
Number 25, senior defensive back, 5'6", 150.
And a big contributor here for this Vikings defense. Don't want to lose his services against a very physical Sycamore team tonight. Wilson, one of the tackling leaders for this Vikings team, 28 solo tackles, 8 assists, and 2 interceptions. He's the guy that covers your receiver, and then he's going to come out and play that run defense as well, and he's being carried off by the shoulders. Not a good sign.
Yeah, I was about to say that doesn't look good at all. He's not putting weight on either ankle, and they are bypassing the bench directly in front of us and bringing him back to the training table, so we will keep an eye on him.
And he's right up there gingerly in a hurry. Hopefully they can tape him up and he's able to get back. It's a big loss for Princeton, and I'm sure he wants to get out and play in this game.
3rd and 11 now for the Aves as they'll spread it out.
Comes up
looking to throw left side and had a man, but he was going to be short of the first down even if he had come down with it. Pass intended for number 41, Myron Williams, junior wide receiver, and we'll see what the Aviators elect to do on 4th and 11 here.
Imagine we're going to get a punt. You don't want to give this Vikings offense a short field.
I would have to agree.
That's Borman who does the punting also. And number 10. Borman also is a holder and kicks. Sorry, Dave.
That's all right. And he will drop back into punt formation.
Oh, coming in a hurry from that left side.
A nice punt, takes an Aviator bounce inside the 5, and they will down it at the 4-yard line.
Very well executed by this Aviator special team unit. Pressure was coming. Borman wasn't phased, got that kick off. And then you had your gunner on the near side of the field, Brandon Archer, get down there to prevent that ball from rolling into the end zone. So we'll see what this Viking offense can do with a very long field this time around.
Nicely done on both ends of that punt for the Aviators, and Princeton is going to cash in after going 3 and out on their opening drive. They're going to have to go 96 yards to hit pay dirt. 7:41 remaining, first quarter, no score. Glad you could join us for ICRC-TV's coverage of the high school Friday football game of the week. Dave Borst and Glenn Olson with you from Princeton High School this evening. A big GMC matchup tonight.
So you saw there, we had an adjustment on the spot and then had to get the play clock reset.
Reed looking to throw, coming long, and he's got a man complete out to the 40-yard line. Number 10, Raymond Kozlowski on the reception, and just like that, you go from being in the shadow of your own goalpost out to near midfield, partner.
Short field, what short field? Raymond Kozlowski does it all. He's a wide receiver, he's a punter, plays defense, but just a fantastic throw and a fantastic catch.
Beautiful play by the Vikings here.
And the Vikings are playing tempo, up to the line early and try to get Sycamore a little bit winded, not able to substitute the way they wanted.
A couple on that play, and I'll be honest, partner, I didn't think the Vikings were all set right before they snapped that ball. It looked like perhaps the tight end or the tackle on that far side of the line hadn't gotten himself set yet, but the officials missed it.
One of the dangers of going tempo, right?
Yeah. It'll be 2nd and 8 now, 5 wides. And he'll keep it himself. Will Reed and gets out to midfield.
Was by number 16.
So there, we talked in the pregame show about that motion coming across the formation. You had Terrence Smith in motion, and Reed elects to keep it and dives right up the middle for a nice little pickup, setting up a 3rd and manageable.
3rd and 3. 6:39 and counting. First quarter. Princeton on the move on their second offensive possession. Big, important 3rd down right here for Reed and the Vikings. Little razzle-dazzle coming near side. Going to get close to the first down, and he stopped. They're going to stop him a yard short had he just dove forward. Number 22, C.J. Henderson. I believe he would have had the first down. As it is, they're actually going to mark him 2 yards short.
Yeah, Henderson had the opportunity to lean forward and get that despite the contact, and he looked like he wanted to cut back, as you're going to see here on the replay, and that gave the Sycamore defender time to get in there and stop the play. So Henderson may have cost his team a first down. Now it's 4th and 3, Dave. And they're going for it. Nope. Kozlowski's back there.
Kozlowski back in punt formation. Good punt his first time around. Here's a high, kind of wobbly spiral that's going to bounce right near the 20, and it'll take a Sycamore bounce back out to the 24, 23-yard line is where they spot it. And so Princeton able to move the ball a little bit on their second possession, especially on the big 40-yard plus strike from Reed on the first play from their own 4-yard line, but still nobody able to dent the scoreboard just yet.
So Jeff Dixon, the coordinator for the Aviators, defensive coordinator, doing a good job of bottling up this Princeton running attack, and for the most part taking that away. They just got to limit the big plays like we saw Reed on the connection to Kozlowski. So if they continue to take away that running game, it's going to give Coach McLaughlin fits. He does not want to become one-dimensional.
So we'll see what the Aves have here on their second offensive possession. Again, that kind of odd formation, 3 backs in the backfield. The handoff goes to Bonner. He cuts back to the inside and out to the 29-yard line. Another good pickup on first down for Rayvon Bonner.
He is just truly a special athlete, and it's no surprise at all he ends up committing to play college football in the Big Ten because he is just a great talent.
They will love him at Illinois. No question about that.
And they need all the help they can get.
Yes. So I hope he's ready to try to turn that program around.
That's coming from a Buckeye fan, so there may be a hint of bias in there. Yeah, he'll do great things out there, I'm sure.
Borman now looking to throw. Left side under pressure. It's complete to Bonner for a first down, and they'll run him out of bounds on the far sideline at about the 37-yard line.
Well, give credit to Jake Borman on this. He knew that pressure was coming, and he was probably going to take a lick. And he hung in there, good pocket presence, got that pass off, and it's a first down. And a well-thrown ball.
Indeed it was. Nice tight spiral there to Bonner.
Quincy Dawson just a hair late getting there to try to break that up for the Vikings defense.
4:52 to go, first quarter. 2 wides to the near side this time. And Borman in a pistol. Bonner behind him. He's looking to throw again. Under pressure, steps up, and what a nice move by Borman. Here he comes near side, out to midfield, and oh, what a collision between a couple of Vikings teammates there. It looked like a helmet-to-helmet shot between Kozlowski and Terrence Smith, but both of them jump right back up and head back to the huddle.
And that's one of the dangers of bringing the pressure that Princeton brought. Borman able to step up right through it, and some guys had to retreat back from the secondary to slow him down.
So a big run for Borman, and 1st and 10 right at the 50-yard line. Again in the pistol, Bonner behind him. And we've got movement this time as somebody didn't get the snap count correct.
First start on Sycamore Aves.
And that will back up the Aves 5 yards to their own 45 and bring up a 1st and 15 with 4:27 to go here in the first quarter. No score.
Yeah, the first real hiccup so far for this Aviators offense. Be curious to see what head coach and offensive coordinator Scott Patillo dials up here in this 1st and 15 scenario.
Borman will work out of the pistol again. He's got a wing back and a man in motion coming near side, but the hand goes to Bonner. Left side, he's got a hole. He's got a couple of men to beat. Dodging tacklers, and they finally drag him down at the 20-yard line. What a great run by Rayvon Bonner.
Not going to second-guess Bonner because he's carried the ball more tonight than I have in my life. But look like if he doesn't cut back, he may have a good chance of getting inside the 10-yard line, if not hitting pay dirt.
Indeed, he got to that second level right now, and it was just a foot race then, and it looked like when he tried to cut back to evade one of those tacklers, the other was able to catch up to him, but still a big run of 35 yards for Bonner down to the Princeton 20.
Not what Steve Sheehan wants to see this early in the game.
Bonner left side, and they will chase him down from behind.
Yeah, not able to turn the corner there.
Nice tackle there, Jamal Hines.
Yep, well, guys we talked about in the pregame.
Indeed, senior tight end and outside linebacker, 6'2", 220. Jamal Hines, and a great job of dragging down the elusive Bonner from behind that time, and actually cost him a yard. It'll be 2nd and 11 at the 21. Two wides to the near side for Borman. Again, man in motion. And again, the hand goes to Bonner. Right up the gut.
He ricocheted off his own blocker, which put him right into the hole.
It sure did. Bounced off his own lineman and then found some running room all the way down to the 15-yard line. And again, they're looking at a 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 5.
Yeah, and certainly easily convertible for the Aviators. Nice shot of Bonner there, and there's Jake Borman.
Inside 2.5 to go, first quarter. We are scoreless. And the Aves trying to do something about that right now. Yeah. Swing to Bonner, near side, angling toward the pylon, and they will run him out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Nice pass from Borman to Bonner right there.
You cannot let Rayvon Bonner go out and make plays in space if you're this Vikings defense. And look, not a great shot in the jersey until he's already got 5 yards after catch or so.
Oh, pardon me. I miscalled that. That was Myron Williams on the reception there, 41. I saw the one.
Yeah.
Saw him coming out of the backfield and assumed it was Bonner. My apologies, Myron. Excellent catch.
Sure
Excellent
was.
Run. 1st and goal for the Aves.
Really,
high snap, trouble. Bonner's got a fall on it.
Well, to finish your point, you really can't let any of these Aviators get out in space. They're too talented. Both these teams are.
You see this one just a little bit high for Borman to handle, and Bonner's just got a fall on it.
Yeah.
Back at the 6-yard line. So rather than 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line, it'll be 2nd and goal from the 6. 1:45 to go, first quarter.
What recognition for Bonner, you know. Kind of easy to get frazzled, but he was able to reach up and fall right on that ball.
Very heady play right there. He'll take it right up the gut near the goal line. Did he get in? No signal yet. They're going to mark him short.
And that's the 1 foot line, if even that, according to the near side official, Dave.
Indeed. Just inside the 1-yard line.
We're going to have an excellent shot here from our sideline camera operator.
And they just got his backside down before he fell into the end zone. So it'll be 3rd and goal from just inside the 1.
2 chances to get it done here for Coach Totillo and his offensive Aviators.
And guess who?
Yeah.
Rayvon Bonner goes right over the right guard for the touchdown for Sycamore.
I would have been surprised if it wasn't Bonner at that point. So, going to watch here. Doesn't get more basic than this. The offensive line opens up a hole. The gray jerseys can't fill the gaps, and Bonner gets in for the first points of the night.
Some great blocking up there by Tate Goodyear, number 70, among others. That offensive line of Sycamore is impressive. The extra point is up and good. And with 57.9 seconds to go, first quarter, Sycamore leads it 7-0 on the road at Princeton.
Jacob Hasselbeck, the kicker for this Aviators team, and the holder, Jake Borman, who does a little bit of everything for this Aviators team. Besides play quarterback, he's the holder on special teams. He's also the punter.
He's kind of the do-it-all kid for him, isn't he?
Yeah. He's truly a special athlete. And just a lot of good things have come together for the Aviators this year. And as we talked about at the Open, the record a little bit deceiving, coming in at 3-4, right? But 2 of those games were overtime losses to very good teams. Lost to defending State 2 champion LaSalle in overtime, and then the Skyline Chili Crosstown Classic, and then to Covington Cap. Coach Cotillo scheduled strong in the non-conference this year to help get those second-level playoff points that are so crucial under the Harbin system, and that's why they're still in the thick of things. Teams that beat them have kept winning.
We talked a little bit about Solomon Reed's impressive statistics coming into the ball game. Borman comes in with 1,162 yards on the season, a completion percentage of 57%, 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. As this one is kicked away and brought back to the 24-yard line.
I believe that was Anthony Rogers fielded that.
Number 11 indeed, wide receiver and defensive back. Another senior on this Princeton team, Rogers.
And looking down for an injury update, number 25, Leroy Wilson, who we saw earlier in the game, still sitting by himself down on the trainer's bench and not getting any attention from trainers at this point.
Yeah, that makes you kind of wonder if we have perhaps seen the last of Mr. Wilson tonight. We certainly hope not, but it's never a good sign when they just kind of walk away and aren't working on you anymore.
Yeah, they've got ice on him, but didn't see an air cast or anything like that, and obviously no stretcher or anything like that or backboard to carry him to a waiting ride to the hospital. So encouraging in that sign, but I think his night is over.
Hand off to Tyrese Mills. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, so spot him at the 25, give him a yard.
Look at the white jerseys and yellow pants right there at the point of attack, doing a good job of executing and getting penetration to slow down that rushing attack, trying to make Princeton one-dimensional.
Doing a very good job of it so far. Reed looking to throw, far side, picked off. Coming back the other way. He's only got Reed to beat, and Reed lays the wood to him at the 10-yard line. But that's number 23, Brendan Archer. Senior defensive back with the pick, and it'll be 1st and goal once again for the Aves.
So just kind of in line with what I was just saying, Dave. Make them one-dimensional, making them go to the air because the ground game's not working. And just like that, here comes a fantastic Sycamore defensive effort and very good field position for a Sycamore offense that scored on a long field last time. Now you've got a short field. Ball spotted right at the 10-yard line on the far hash.
1st and goal for the Aves right at the 10, 13.9 seconds to go, 1st quarter.
So similar situation to last week. Princeton fell behind early to Hamilton in the 1st quarter. They can't afford to do that here tonight to Sycamore. They've got to dial up and figure out a way to limit this Aviators offense to a field goal and keep them out of the end zone.
Brendan Archer's 2nd interception of the season.
Easier said than done when you give up 6 yards in the first carry.
Bonner gets down to the 4-yard line, and that will be the final play of the 1st quarter. As you take a look at the replay, and Borman to Bonner, left side again, just a nice hole, nice running room for Bonner. The offensive and defensive lines that you talked about in pregame for the Sycamore Aves coming up big in that 1st quarter.
Yeah, and you saw right there on that replay Bonner's first run on this drive. There was 2 gray jerseys that just couldn't get there in time. Bonner's that quick, and the offensive line was pushing the point of attack up so deep that they couldn't turn the corner and get there to try to limit his game. So things are clicking right now for the Aviators. We've still got 36 minutes left, but Scott Patillo has to like what he's seen so far, I think.
Have to agree. 7-0 our score at the end of the 1st quarter. You are watching ICRC-TV Sports Friday Night Football Game of the Week. Alongside my partner and pal Glenn Olson, I am Dave Borst. We are emanating tonight from Princeton High School, right along I-75, Sharonville, where the home Vikings on senior night find themselves down 7-0 to the visiting Sycamore Aviators in this crucial Greater Miami Conference matchup. And really, as we talked about earlier, a must-win for both teams with big playoff implications. Sycamore comes in with the kind of deceiving record of 3-4 on the season. The Vikings 5-2. But Sycamore sitting pretty right now with a 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line of the Vikings.
And I'll say this real quick before they get this playoff. It's always great when we have 2 ICRC schools get together. We're able to highlight 2 communities that support us. These fans need to come out and support these teams. You have 2 teams on their way to the playoffs.
Bonner right up the middle. They're not going to touch him until he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Sycamore. On the first play of the 2nd quarter, Rayvon Bonner right up the gut.
Yeah, it's just common sense of who's going to get the ball in that situation and what he's going to do. Shouldn't have been a big surprise to anybody on the Viking sideline what was going to happen there. And I'm assuming it's not. They just couldn't get past the Sycamore offensive line. It continues to get the job done. It's going to be a broken record tonight. We're in the 2nd quarter. How many times I've said that, Dave?
I would have to agree with you. They are just doing the job up front as Hasselbeck puts up the PAT. And it is good. And so, with 11:54 to go until halftime, the Vikings on senior night find themselves down 14-0.
And this is where Pat McLaughlin and his assistants have to become psychologists a little bit, get these kids back up. We've got a lot of football left to play. You've got a quick strike offense. This game certainly isn't over, but they've got to find a way to score on this drive and need to pump up the offensive unit to go out and get that done.
Got to get some points on the boards, you would think, on this drive, if nothing else for the sake of morale.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Keep themselves in the game. They went 3 and out on their opening possession and then were backed up on their own 4-yard line. And Solomon Reed hit a strike to Kozlowski that got him out near midfield, but then the drive stalled. And they had to kick it away to the Aviators. So as you take another look at the touchdown run for Bonner, doesn't even get touched until he gets to the goal line. What a great job by that offensive line.
Yeah, can't say enough about those guys, and we'll try to highlight some of those numbers and names as the night goes on to let you know who those guys are, but very talented bunch.
Hasselbeck will kick it away. C.J. Henderson, one of the deep backs for Princeton. This one a squibber. It's going to be taken by one of the up men at the 20, across the 30, and across the 35 to about the 37-yard line.
I believe that was Jared Thomas, one of the up men who fielded that.
It was indeed number 20, Jared Thomas, on the first down return. And they will spot him at the 37.
So just to go back and touch on my point about the crowd earlier, it's a respectable crowd for both sides, but both of these sets of bleachers are capable of holding a lot more fans that are filling seats tonight. And Princeton hasn't been to the playoffs in 10 years, back since the Spencer Ware days, and here they are with a chance to get there this year. Come out and support this team.
Absolutely. Handoff left side goes Tyrese Mills. Decent pickup on first down. Gets him out to the 44-yard line.
Again, back to tempo here for the Vikings.
2nd and 3 after the 7-yard pickup. Here comes Mills near side, and this time the Aves sniffed that one out.
Can't turn the corner.
Number 33, Johnny Bothan.
They're going to get a flag, I believe, on Sycamore for the little arm flex or whatever after the play, if I had to guess.
Perhaps getting a bit too excited was Johnny Bothan.
Nope.
Oh, no. Personal foul, dead ball against the Princeton Vikings.
Back to my point in the pregame show, this is why I don't make predictions.
Well, I would have gone with exactly what you said as well. Most of the officiating crews that we've seen this year are trying to keep a lid on anything that even resembles taunting.
Yeah.
And not that the actions of both in there were completely over the top or anything like that, but they are simply trying to keep a lid on it in all levels of football now.
Dale Goodwin, the head referee in the white hat tonight for this game. Make sure we recognize him.
Reed sets up the screen. It's complete across the 40, and he hurdles a defender at the 45, does Terrence Smith, and gets out near midfield. Good for a first down. So the 15-yard penalty doesn't hurt him.
Brendan Archer there with a game-saving throw my chest, or a touchdown-saving throw my chest at his feet tackle And that, again, you get these Vikings players out in space, they're dangerous. So that's what Coach McLaughlin has to find a way to do, to get them out in space and make plays.
Smith around the left end that time, picks up a couple. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 8.
That's good.
Continues to run, 10.5 to go till halftime.
Good to see. We were worried the Vikings might have started moping a little bit, as we talked about after the last Aviators touchdown, but they're fully engaged offensively on this drive and trying to get some points out of this to climb right back in this game.
Well, spread them out this time. Had 4 wides, 2 to each side. Man in motion. That one almost picked off again as Reed kind of telegraphed his throw that time. And it was number 46, Cully's Hicks, who jumped in front of that one and was unable to hold on to it. Otherwise, he had nothing between him and the goal line but air and opportunity.
Well, and you can't fault Reed because it's a quick strike play. But he was looking at Kozlowski the whole way, and the Aviator defender was able to read his eyes and know right where the ball was going and almost jumped that route again.
And I believe they're going to get Sycamore in the neutral zone this time, so they'll give them a free 5 on a 3rd and 8 and turn it into a 3rd and 3.
So 3rd and long to 3rd and doable, right? I wonder if this will change the play call at all.
Going with the same formation, 4 wides, trips to the top of your screen. And Raekwon Robinson in the backfield with Solomon Reed to his right. Man in motion coming to the near side. C.J. Henderson.
He's got him. He's got him right there.
He does indeed, right at the first down marker.
Don't go backwards. Go forward. I know you get forward progress, but don't go backwards. Very nearly cost himself a first down there.
He did. It looked like he had it by a full yard. They're going to go ahead and give him the full progress to the 40. Yes. But Henderson trying to dodge tacklers did back up a couple of yards. You're right, almost cost him a first down.
And again, broken record time, bringing that motion across the formation. And Henderson able to get out there in space underneath the coverage and get the first down, move the sticks for the Vikes.
Same thing on this play, and again,
false start.
This time we've got movement on the Vikings.
Referee give it, the referee taketh away. 1st and 10 to 1st and 15, you're kind of back where you were a couple plays ago.
That'll back him up to the Sycamore 45 as the clock continues to run. And they will start out in the same formation, 3 wides to the far side. We'll see if they bring Henderson in motion again.
And this is where they make those adjustments and kind of start out in that formation and then maybe bring the motion. There it is, Henderson again.
Joins Kozlowski on this side. Reed looking to throw under pressure, and he will go down back at the 47-yard line. Tate Goodyear. We've already called his name on the offensive line. This time the big fella gets it done on defense.
Yeah, and you're not going to see it on the replay as we focus on Reed here, but you did have that motion man streaking for a post down the near sideline and had his man beat, had the protection held up for Reed that time.
Tate Goodyear decided he was not going to allow that. 2nd and 22. Reed looking to throw far side, complete, and out of bounds on the far sideline near the 37-yard line goes Raphael Floyd, junior wide receiver. And they go from a 2nd and forever to a 3rd and long, but 3rd and 8.
Yeah, well, it's doable, and this is part of Coach McLaughlin's game plan to keep that explosive Aviator offense off the field. But they've got to find a way to continue this drive in this 3rd and long situation with the late substitution and 2 late. Referee gotcha.
Broke the huddle with too many players, did the Vikings. Number 44, Deontay Gilbert.
3rd and 7, now it's going to be 3rd and a long cab ride.
Indeed it will.
Short cab ride. Sorry.
Gilbert looked around and all of a sudden realized, I'm not supposed to be here. And by that time, everybody else was lined up. He tried to sprint to the near sideline, but the officials caught him, so it'll bring up a 3rd and 13 now. With the ball at the Sycamore 43-yard line.
Surprised it took so long to throw the flag.
Yeah.
Don't they count in the huddle?
He had quite a sprint, too. The ball was spotted on the far hash, and he had more than half of the width of the field to get off as Reed throwing down the middle, and that one almost picked off by Archer again. just barely short hopped it. He's begging for the call, and he's not going to get it. We'll take a look at the replay.
We'll see what it looks like. Look, Reed had all the time in the world that time. That's because they were in tight coverage. Just a little bit ahead of our cam operator. We can't see it. So much zip Reed has on that ball.
A tremendous throw by Solomon Reed, but Archer was the one closest to it that short hopped him. So Kozlowski will come on to punt for Princeton with 8:42 to go before halftime. High snap. Kozlowski picking it up, running for his life. Near side, he picked up a block. Now he's going to boot it away, and it will go out of bounds near side. And he did it before he got back to the line of scrimmage. So I believe it's going to be a legal punt.
Yeah, no flags. I see no yellow on the field other than the Aviators uniform pants. That a heady play, to say the least, by Kozlowski. He was smart enough to not try to kick it with three guys under, basically in his face. So he rolls out to his right. He's got good speed, gains a little bit of separation, able to get off a punt. So it's a change of field, probably not as deep as you would have liked, but it's a heck of a lot better than being back in your own half of the field, Dave.
Absolutely, and picked up a great block to spring him to the near side. I believe it was number 87, Jermaine Wimpy, a sophomore wide receiver who threw that block that gave him enough time to get back near the line of scrimmage and punt it out of bounds. They mark it at the 35 of Sycamore. Now Borman looking to throw far side, a little too high for the intended receiver, number 13, Kadeem Fall, and now
personal foul.
A little extracurricular activity.
Well, I'm not going to fault the Viking defender there because it looked like he was trying to keep from tackling him to the ground. So he was trying to let him down as gingerly as you can in that situation. And the Sycamore receiver took a little bit of offense to it. So, the mental game getting away a little bit there. So you can, say what you will. I guess he could have let him go at that point. But
Anthony Rogers and Kadeem Fall, and it looks like they're going to mark this off against Sycamore. They will indeed.
Yeah, I don't think that the defender knew the ball wasn't there. I mean, his face mask was basically in Fall's side hip.
Yeah.
So he was trying to tackle him. So I don't know that he was able to see the ball deflect away. I think he thought he caught up and was trying to make a tackle.
So this will bring up second and a country mile for the Aviators. Second and 25 with 8:23 to go until halftime. They lead it 14-0, but the personal foul against Kadeem Fall makes this a difficult second down play, to say the least. They set up the screen to Bonner. He's got some blocking in front of him. Bonner out to the 40, and he'll have the first down on second and 25. How about that?
Penalty? What penalty? I mean, again, we talked about it on the last drive. You bring the pressure, they're going to make you pay by getting somebody out in space. So Borman had to get rid of it in a hurry. There was nobody covering Bonner, and looks what he picks up 25 yards. So it's danged if you do, danged if you don't, I guess.
My goodness, Freddie Price, number 33, was the one to bring him down, but when Bonner gets ahead of steam, he's got some speed and some elusiveness as well as some power.
That second gear we hear about.
Here he goes around the right end and trying to pull him down by the pants.
Drug the defender with him across the formation.
Indeed he did, and a pickup out near midfield for Bonner.
Now watch this. He takes the handoff, and the defender gets a hold of his uniform pants, and that doesn't slow him down. He just keeps rolling.
He just kept going, almost pulled his pants down to his knees.
I thought that was a Benny Hill skid for a minute.
Instead, it's a 5-yard gain, and it brings up second and 5 right at midfield for the Sycamore Aviators as they look to extend this 14-0 lead, and they got a free 5 there, I believe, as number 10, Raymond Kozlowski, coming across the line early.
Borman's a
Vikings.
good quarterback in more ways than one. Looked like he got him with a little bit of a hard count there. For you kids that didn't get the Benny Hill reference, just Google it.
Pardon me, that was Jamal Hines, number 18. He's got his jersey kind of bunched up in the front there. It looked like 10 from here, but it was Jamal Hines guilty of the offside penalty. Brings up second and
Sycamore's
short.
going to give it back.
Right back. How about that? They'll get Jonathan Malik this time.
We saw him leaning, and he just couldn't get back.
Just couldn't stop himself. Looking out, and so they will go from 2nd and inches back to 2nd and 6 officially. A long 5 in reality. Ball spotted right at the midfield stripe.
My goodness, you could probably field a football team out of all these cheerleaders out on the track tonight. You've got the varsity, JV, and freshmen, it all looks like out here, and you could probably field a team of 40.
There's Bonner off to the races, far sideline, one man to beat, 10-5, and they will run him out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Terrence Smith there to make the touchdown-saving tackle for the Vikings, but it's going to be 1st and goal for the Aves.
Words just don't describe how fast his legs are moving once he gets going there. And that's a little bit of a slowdown in replay. In real-time speed, it looked like something out of Flintstones.
Absolutely, it did. Bonner was running away from him. Smith, fortunately for the Vikings, had the angle on him and was able to push him out of bounds. And it will be 1st and goal with the ball. They will spot it at the 8-yard line.
See if Foreman can get him to jump again.
He'll keep it himself around the right end and get down near the 5.
A bit of a late pile on there at the end, maybe. No flag, but as if he.
Good run by Jake Foreman as you take a look at the replay here. He's going to fake the hand to Bonner and keep it himself. Cuts it upfield, and Freddie Price, number 33, in on the tackle for the Vikings.
How about Bonner after that long run? Doesn't come out of the game, stays in there, doesn't get the call that time, but stays in the game, gets a blocking assignment.
And he was a bit gassed after that run. I saw him out of bounds over there trying to catch his breath, but just jogged back to the huddle. Borman rolling right, complete, touchdown, Sycamore.
Brave on ball?
Number 31, Kyle
31.
Fair that time.
Yeah, just too easy for Sycamore. Or too easy if you're Princeton to let that happen. Got him isolated out in coverage and never had a chance to slow that down.
Junior fullback Kyle Fair here. You see him lined up right next to Borman. Borman just simply rolls right, and they forgot about the fullback.
Nobody there.
He runs right into the corner of the end zone, and with 5:55 to go until halftime, the extra point try is up and good. And Sycamore has indeed extended their lead. They are up by 3 scores, 21-0. 5:55 to go before the intermission, partner. And if the Vikings don't find a way to slow down Bonner and Bourne, it's going to be a long night here at Princeton.
Yeah, well, it's starting to look like deja vu for the Vikings from last week against Hamilton. You know, they're down 21-0 here in the second quarter and not been able to do much offensively other than the long completion to Kozlowski at this point. So they're going to have to find a way to sustain a drive, keep Sycamore off the field, and score some points on this drive. They've got nearly 6 minutes to do it. They've got to go back to basics and get it done. Unfortunately for Sycamore, they're making Princeton somewhat one-dimensional. They can go ahead and rely on that pass because there's been no ground game to speak of at this point.
And how much of that is a product of the Sycamore Aviators simply winning at the point of attack? They're winning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Well, with this type of offense, you've got to be able to get out in space and turn the corner, and they're not able to do that. So you're winning in the trenches. You're winning out in space. They're just not able to do the things that they're used to doing. The Sycamore defense is pretty well disciplined and very athletic, and able to shut that attack down at this point. So a lot to answer your question.
Hasselbeck with a deep kick into the end zone and through the end zone for a touchback.
We've got the Sycamore coaches next to us up here in the press box at Vikings Stadium, and very thrilled to see that touchback.
Indeed they were.
So that's, again, taking your skill players out of the equation. Go get them the 20-yard line all day long, because that's one less opportunity for somebody to make a play out on the field. And, you know, Princeton's loaded with tremendous speed and athleticism, to say the least. But can't do anything to defend that when you kick it into the end zone, right?
And what a great weapon to have in Hasselbeck. These extra points that he's put up, all 3 of them, were almost over the uprights, folks. They were so high, and probably would have been good from 45 yards out. That's how much distance he had on him. Quite a leg on young Mr. Hasselbeck.
Yeah, for sure.
Handoff near side. That's Mills. Up to the 20-yard line goes Tyrese Mills.
And Sycamore was right there to maybe stop that for a loss, but a touch of over pursuit and allows the running back to turn the corner and get a few more yards, but still not what Coach McLaughlin wants. All that and only netted 1 yard.
Yeah, 2nd and 9 for the Vikings. 3 wides in the pattern for Solomon Reed, and Tyrese Mills in the backfield with him. Reed complete.
Wow.
To the far hash, and a nice catch there by Raphael Floyd. That'll be good for a first down. What a strike by Solomon Reed.
Well, and one thing, we're in week 8, so there's no secret. You are who you are at this point. You're not going to totally drastically change your game plan. And Sycamore recognized the formation, shifted over to the near side of the field. But nice job by Princeton, able to get some positive yards there.
5 wides, empty backfield this time for Reed. Dominic Pierce came into motion, and now another motion man, and this time Reed fakes the handoff and will keep it himself right up the gut to the 40-yard line. Fakes the handoff to Raekwon Robinson, kept it himself, did Solomon Reed. And that will bring up a 2nd and 4 for the Vikings.
The Sycamore coaches next to us didn't like the response of the Aviators defense from the pre-snap look. They knew something wasn't quite right there, and Princeton able to take advantage.
4 wides this time. Again, an empty backfield, and we've got early movement. This one will go against the Vikings. So rather than 2nd and 3, they're going to back themselves back up into a 2nd and 8. And another theme of the evening to this point are untimely penalties for the Princeton Vikings.
Those are just absolute momentum killers, and they're discipline issues, right? There's nobody drawing them to move early. That's just some discipline issues that they've got to tighten up if they do want to get into the postseason and make a run.
5 wides again, 3 to the far side, empty backfield. Reed looking to throw, heaves it downfield and overshoots everybody.
Yeah, way overshot him.
Intended for Kozlowski, but it was 10 yards beyond him. It bounced at the 25-yard line while Kozlowski was back at the 35. And so it will bring up a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 for the Vikings with the ball at their own 36-yard line.
I'm not going to get a chance for a replay, but you would have seen that the pocket collapsed pretty quickly around Reed, and now we got a whistle timeout for Princeton, so maybe our director Jason can cue that up. But Reed, that pocket, you just had white jerseys and yellow pants around him in a hurry, so definitely overshot him, but he had a lot of guys coming in his face too.
He did. I think he might have had to get rid of that a little bit quicker than he wanted to because of that pressure and showing off that impressive arm, but overshot everybody, including his intended receiver, as you take a look here at the replay.
And watch how quickly the Sycamore pressure gets in there. You saw just a glimpse of it, and Reed definitely had to get rid of that sooner than he wanted to, and maybe it's one of those timing routes where his receiver just couldn't get to where he's used to throwing the ball in practice because of the pressure that was coming in. So, but a good use of timeouts here by Coach McLaughlin. We're under 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. You can't take them with you, and might as well get this play call right, try to convert, and keep that Aviators offense off the field.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give them another shot at putting up 6 more on you before the halftime break. You're down 3 scores already. As you mentioned, inside 4 minutes to go. A big 3rd and 8 here for the Vikings. Reed to throw. Swing pass near side complete, but he's not going to have enough for the first down. Terrence Smith, he'll be run out of bounds about the 41-yard line, and that's still going to be 3 yards short, so it'll be 4th and 3.
You're not going to see it in a shot here, but had he looked left, which you saw he never did, C.J. Henderson was wide open in the flats at the top of the formation. So, missed opportunity.
Yeah. And it's going to end up costing them as they're going to have to kick it away again.
Not what you wanted to do there. You needed to convert. And again, it could have been due to the pressure coming in.
It's a fake, and it's good for the first down. He's off and running down to the 30, 25. He's got a blocker in front of him. He'll be run out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Number 6, Lavelle Gilbert.
What was that about a missed opportunity?
Yeah, how about that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Boy. the Princeton Vikings, making both of us look awfully bad. On a 4th and 3, it looked like they were electing to punt. Instead, Lavelle Gilbert takes the direct snap and runs it all the way down to the 14-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings, 3:37 to go, and their first real offensive threat, scoring threat of the evening.
Oh, look at the hole there. That's 6.
Right up the gut goes Tyrese Mills. Touchdown, Princeton.
Well, Coach McLaughlin with a little bit of riverboat Ron in him, rolling the dice there. That could not have been good had they not been able to get that first down, but boy, well-executed fake punt, and then look at this hole. I mean, nobody from Sycamore had a chance to stop him until the very end there, and by then it was too late.
Untouched goes Tyrese Mills right up the gut from 9 yards out, 14 yards out. And now the Vikings will attempt the extra point to draw within 2 touchdowns. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and it is good.
Boy, the pressure coming in up the gut that time, and I believe that was number 32, Grant Young, that shot that gap and did his best to get a hand on it. It was very impressive, something you don't see a ton of in high school. We'll certainly see penetration, but not flying in like a missile like that with a chance to get fingers on it. So
and it kind of looked like Andre Jackson, their number 47, almost short-legged it, but was able to get it up in the air. It almost looked like a flop shot. If you're familiar with the bunker shot that a lot of PGA players will use, it goes almost straight up and straight down, but good enough as the Vikings draw within 2 touchdowns, 21-7 now, just 2 ticks over 3.5 remaining until halftime.
And the Vikings had to have that. They needed to score, needed to stop the bleeding, so to speak, and get some positive momentum here. So now the goal is to come out here, still plenty of time, 3.5 minutes, force a quick 3 and out, get one more crack at the end zone because they've got momentum on their side at this point.
A gutsy call on 4th and 3 to call the fake punt, and it paid off for the Vikings.
Look at this formation.
Yeah, the defenders, it makes you wonder if they're perhaps indicating an onside kick here.
Boy, that would be gutsy.
And instead, they will kick it deep.
Nice kick.
Indeed, all the way back to the 5-yard line goes Brian Donaghy. And they will drag him down just across the 25-yard line. And pardon me, that was number 8, Christian Kelly, on the return.
So the downside to that oddball formation is you got your guys spread out trying to converge back to the middle of the field, and Sycamore able to take advantage of it that time with a pretty good return up to the 27-yard line, 28-yard line officially.
Opened up a nice lane for Christian Kelly there. And so the Aves will have decent field position at their own 28-yard line with 3:23 to go until halftime. They lead it 21-7. Hand off to Bonner, right side, a little bit of running room. He'll pick up about 5 on first down.
Well, it's just going to take a total defensive effort from Princeton because you stack the line, then you've got the guys like Malik and Fall and Williams that can do things to you if you're stacking the line to try to slow down Bonner. So, Coach McLaughlin told us before the game it's going to be whistle to whistle, a total defensive effort.
Malik in motion this time, but the handoff goes to Bonner, and he might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage and no more than that. So they'll bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Aves. The ball spotted at their own 33-yard line. 2:35 to go until halftime. 3 wides this time for Borman. And again, working that hard count and almost got him.
Yeah. He's a smart young man. He knows how to use that cadence to try to get his team a free 5 yards. And that would have been a first down.
And it has worked for him a couple of times, as now the Aves are going to take their first time out of the half. Didn't like what they had called, or didn't like something in the defensive formation for the Vikings. So with 2:15 to go until halftime, each team left with 2 timeouts. And the Aves looking at a 3rd and 4 when we get back to action.
And similar to that last Princeton offensive drive, you might as well go ahead and take that timeout and talk about it. Let's convert this first down, keep Princeton off the field, keep our offense on the field, and try to score another touchdown. So like the timeout call by Coach Totillo and his staff.
As you mentioned earlier, when Princeton took their timeout, you can't take them into the locker room with you.
Right.
And a good job of trying to stop the momentum there.
Just a quick reminder, you can see the graphic up on your screen. We are seeking volunteers for our productions that we do here at ICRC-TV, and they're not all just sports. We cover government events, educational events, cultural events, so it can be an on-air like a talent guy like me or behind a camera or in the truck with Jason, so plenty of opportunities. Reach out to ICRC-TV.com to learn more.
Indeed. Borman looking to throw on 3rd and 5 under pressure. He'll keep it himself. He's got the first down and more. Out to the 45-yard line goes Jake Borman on a busted play, but just found an opening right up the middle, and it's good for a first down.
He's an intelligent young man, and, saw an opening there, cuts back or cuts up through, and only needed 4 yards, able to get it and keep this drive alive.
Good run by Borman, 1st and 10. From their own 45 for the Sycamore Aviators. 150 and counting until halftime. Borman looking to throw. Under pressure, steps up. Got a man behind the defense, but it's going to be knocked away at the last second. What a great defensive play there. Number 11, Anthony Rogers.
Yeah, he was trying to get to Jonathan Malik and underthrown just a touch, or maybe Malik outran the route a little bit, but could have been a turnover there for the Vikings. Good defense, as you said, by number 11, Anthony Rogers.
So that will bring up a 2nd and 10 for the Aviators. 1:39 to go until halftime.
There you can see Borman, relatively clean pocket, took one step back away from the pressure. Well thrown ball, just a little bit underthrown and into double coverage. So disaster averted for the Aviators, but a good stop by the Vikings defense.
Borman looking to throw under immediate pressure, sets up the screen to Bonner. That's trouble.
That's
He's
6.
loose.
That's 6.
Rayvon Bonner is going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Sycamore.
So again, this is the 3rd time I've mentioned this. Whenever you bring that pressure, you bring the house, so to speak, they can hurt you with players out in space, and that was a textbook example of it right there.
Sets up the screen. It was a jailbreak as far as the Vikings defensive line was concerned, but suckered him right into the trap, did Borman.
Good recognition by the Sycamore offensive staff and the players out on the field to see what was coming there and make them pay. I'm surprised we see a lot of that blitz tonight moving forward, because they've been burnt by it a few times at this point. Sycamore is too loaded to leave players out in space. Just way too loaded. You cover up Bonner, you got, Fall or Malik or Williams that can come in and get it done. There's just too many weapons, and you're going to have to line up and go one-on-one at these guys, I think. And the gamble did not pay off. There you see Borman, dumps it off under pressure, and there's Bonner. Look, a couple jerseys close, gray jerseys. Good block there on the side. And able to get down before the safety was able to get there and provide some help. He was a couple seconds too late to prevent that touchdown.
Rayvon Bonner with another touchdown for the Aviators. Hasselbeck adds on the extra point, and with 1:25 to go until the intermission, the visiting Aves on top 28-7. And partner, if you're the Vikings, how much air does that take out of your sails right before halftime after you've clawed back and scored your first touchdown of the game to get it back within striking distance? And just like that, on a beautifully executed screenplay, it's a 55-yard touchdown to Rayvon Bonner.
And I would say quite a bit to answer your question. You look down onto the sideline, and just the body language is saying stunned to me for the guys in gray.
Hasselbeck puts toe to leather, a high end-over-end kick. This one a little bit shorter this time, taken at the 9-yard line. Anderson coming near side, breaking tackles across the 35 out to the 37 goes C.J. Anderson.
And again, admittedly biased because I'm a Buckeye fan, but their strategy for the Ohio State Buckeyes on kickoffs has been to keep it out of the end zone. Kick it 5 or 10 yards shy of the end zone, allow your speed guys to get down there and limit the field position, and that's what Sycamore's been doing on a pretty consistent basis tonight.
I referred to the young man as C.J. Anderson. My apologies. It's C.J. Henderson. Confusing with the Denver Broncos running back. He will split out to the far side as the slot receiver. 4 wides in the pattern for Reed. Looking to throw near side. Complete to Kozlowski to the 40-yard line. And taken down out of bounds by the headgear, but no flag.
Kind of like, I think he was already out of bounds. But referee's right there. He had better eyes on it than I do. But if he take a look at it on the replay here.
Khalees Hicks on the tackle. And they almost had another pick. As we come back to action, Reed was trying to throw to the near side, and number 31, Kyle Fear, got in the way of that one and almost had another pick six.
Yeah. So the problem is with those quick looks, you got to stare him down the whole way, and Princeton's right there to jump it. They know where it's coming just by following his eyes.
They are reading him well, as here's Henderson with a first down catch out to the 50-yard line. Brought down by Grant Young.
Young tried to strip it out, but he's already down.
And Princeton going tempo, 63 seconds left until halftime, and the clock running.
I think that's the key. You got to take tempo to him, but you've got to complete plays, right?
That one just off the hands of Henderson.
Example right there. Not faulting him. He was well covered, and it was a good lick put on him, but you've got to catch that ball and keep momentum going. Now you're giving Sycamore a chance to catch a couple extra breaths, maybe make a substitution, adjust what they're doing. When you complete plays, it's bang, bang, get back to the line and go. So
that one intended for Henderson and brings up 2nd and 10.
Oh, he's got a man open over here.
And it's complete to Kozlowski. That'll be a first down to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, he had Kozlowski and Terrence Smith in the same area, and maybe if he doesn't throw a dart, that ball gets intercepted to Smith. But Smith was fairly open. His defender was playing about 7 yards off of him. But a first down nonetheless.
Brought down by Johnny Bothan. 1st and 10 Princeton, and we've got another timeout. This one taken by the Vikings with 45.7 seconds left. And with the ball at the 35-yard line and one more timeout to work with, they've got a chance to put some points up.
And here you see the last play. Got him out in space. Sycamore able to converge and limit the loss, or limit the gain, but nonetheless moves the sticks for the Vikings. And now they're going to take a timeout, and I'm sure Coach McLaughlin's probably scripting a couple plays down there, saying we're going to, after this first play, we're going to complete it and run this and run this. So.
Yeah, you would think they'd have to have at least 2 and maybe even 3 plays called coming out of this huddle if they're going to try to score with 45.7 ticks left. They do have one timeout, but which allows you to work the middle of the field. You don't necessarily have to come to the sideline on either side, but the one thing that we have seen Reed do consistently tonight is staring down his receivers, and the Aves have taken advantage of it a couple of times, once for a pick six.
Well, and eventually they're going to have to go for a deep ball. He's going to have to go through his progression.
Here he goes far side, and that one is going to overshoot his intended receiver, Taj Martin.
We got lots of pushing on both sides, and if that's not offsetting, I'd be amazed.
The flag's flying.
Both guys were pushing. Neither one of them should have been, but both were pushing. But normally it's the second guy that gets caught, right?
Usually, yeah. Number 7, Barry Daniels, involved for Sycamore as the officials will huddle up and sort this out. Flags thrown back near the 41, 42-yard line.
I don't know what was done or said on the field, but if you're Sycamore, why? You're up by 21 points going into halftime. Why? Keep your composure, keep your mental bearings. Just get through this half and go in and make some adjustments, come out and play football. going to go one way.
Indeed it will, and it's going to cost the Aves 15, so that will set up the Vikings. And here's another one. Somebody shot their mouth off, and this one, I believe, is going to go against Khalees Hicks, number 46, as he said something the back judge took exception to as they were marking off the 15-yard penalty. And, partner, this is going to set the Vikings up at the 5-yard line.
It's just amazing. That's going to be a 30-yard swing. And, you know, Princeton's had trouble sustaining drives. You just gave them 33 yards, right?
All the way down to the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Now Sycamore's going to take a timeout. Coach Tillo's going to get his charges over there and probably have a few choice words that Mom and Dad may not want to hear at home for some of those defensive players at this point. Boy, that's, again, you know, not to say I was right, but you got to keep your bearings, you know. You don't like the call, that's fine. That's the human element of football. Shut up, go play football. And whatever you said, even if you didn't mean it at the official, he heard it, and he's going to throw the flag. So cost your team 30 yards, and now with a chance to get out of here with a 21-point lead at the half, all of a sudden you're giving them some breathing for some life and a chance to cut it to 14 if they're able to score here.
And that second one evidently was a half the distance penalty, so it instead will set them up at the 10-yard line, but still a first and goal from the 10 as it, we were expecting it to be at the 5-yard line. I was, but instead they're going to spot it at the 10. Right. Still a first and goal for the Vikings with 39.9 seconds, and they've still got one timeout, and it's all due to a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
Out of particularly Khalees Hicks and number 7, Barry Daniels for the Aves.
Just kind of silly because you've been doing your job on defense and not giving up plays. So now you've given up more through penalties than you have actually when, you know, the play clock's running.
Reed rolling to his left.
He's got a man open
to throw. He did, and he was in the end zone but had to come back out to the 1-yard line to make the catch. Did Raphael Floyd. And the clock continues to run. They'll have it second and goal at the 1-yard line. Trying to go tempo.
Stared him down the whole way, and again, nearly picked off.
Handoff goes over the left side to Raekwon Robinson, and they stop, and they finally a late signal touchdown Vikings.
I was going to say, if they were going to rule him down, then Coach McLaughlin was going to have to burn the timeout. We've got an injured aviator out on the field around the 3-yard line, unfortunately.
And I believe that may be the aforementioned Barry Daniels, number 7. I couldn't get a real good look at his number there. We'll see if we can see him on this replay as you see Robinson try to go airborne, and he comes down right on top of the goal line.
Yeah, if he hadn't gone airborne, he probably would have come up short, forcing Coach McLaughlin to burn that timeout. But just that little bit there. And then an unsportsmanlike conduct now on Princeton.
Oh, my goodness.
So we've gone from an epic GMC tilt to a little bit of ugliness here late in the first half for both teams.
It's turned into backyard sandlot football discipline-wise here in the last couple of minutes of the first half, and it's probably a good thing. There's only 11.8 seconds left in this first half. Both of these coaches can get their teams back into the locker room at halftime, try to get some emotions under control and get their teams back in check as they are trading unsportsmanlike penalties now.
Just silly. I'm sorry. You know, Sycamore's been doing a great job defensively. They didn't need to engage in those shenanigans, and that was Barry Daniels, the injured aviator. But that breakdown in mental discipline is what allowed Princeton to execute and score.
And now the breakdown in discipline after the touchdown backs the Vikings up to the 18-yard line, and they will spot the point after try at the 25, making this, in essence, a 35-yard field goal.
And the kicking game in high school is always an adventure. This is kind of pushing the boundaries for all but the elite kickers, in my opinion. So interesting to see what they're able to do here.
Good hold, good snap. Jackson gets it on the way, and the kick is good. How about that?
That's been 3 more yards, partner. I don't think that crosses over. So
I agree.
Kind of on the outer edge there of his boundary, and from what it looked like. And well executed, and congrats to him. But 3 more yards, and that spells trouble. Well, at least if you're Coach McLaughlin, you know what you got in live game situation now. If you're able to claw back in this one and it comes down to a late field goal, get to around the 25. We don't have the graphic like the big boys do on the network broadcast, but we'd have a field goal range marker going right around the 25 when the Vikings are on offense.
And I believe that the kicker for Princeton has changed numbers. We had number 47 listed as Andre Jackson, but on the information that we got from the Vikings before the game, that's Spencer Schneider, who was previously wearing number 30. So I believe that is Schneider doing the kick, and we will double check on that for you at halftime. And
always an adventure in high school football when kids start changing numbers.
Yes.
They don't like the way their season's going. The rosters don't get updated. Nothing gets, so.
And it's a good way to make a broadcaster look foolish. And we certainly don't want to slight a young man by misidentifying him either.
I was going to say, I don't need the help.
Yeah. You and me both, partner. Just inside 12 seconds to go. And the mystery kicker for Princeton will tee it up at the 40-yard line. Again with that interesting kicking formation.
I'm surprised they're using that again. It didn't work so well last time, especially now you're going to squib it.
And it'll be another decent run back. Brought out to the 25-yard line.
Worked a little bit better that time. They were able to get to the middle of the field quicker, but again, I think it's because it's a squib and a little bit of a shorter kick than putting one up in the air deep. So.
Christian Kelly again on the return for the Aves. And they will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line with 5.2 ticks left.
Give a little bit of an assist there to the turf monster as Kelly kind of lost his footing trying to cut back. So.
And it looks like the Aves will be content to just take a knee and take this 14-point lead into the locker room. And that is exactly what they will do. And so our halftime score from Princeton High School, the visiting Sycamore Aviators trying to come into Viking territory and knock them off, and they're off to a good start. 28-14, Sycamore leads it over Princeton, partner.
Well, it's been a little bit surprising that the Vikings haven't been able to get a whole lot going offensively, but they've been able to take advantage of some bounces. So we'll come back and talk about adjustments after the break.
Stick around. The second half is coming up. You are watching ICRC-TV sports coverage of Friday night high school football. Stick around, everybody.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
If I play sports for my school, I will have more confidence. I will get better grades.
I will learn how to show good sportsmanship.
I will be more physically fit. I will learn how to handle wins and losses in sports and in life. I will have more school spirit.
I'll learn how to work together. I will learn to set goals and work to reach them.
I'll make good decisions off the field.
If I play sports for my school.
If I play sports for my school.
If I play sports for my school.
I will learn how to be a leader.
Hi, I'm Clark Kellogg. I've attended basketball games from coast to coast over the years as a participant, broadcaster, parent, and fan. And believe me, I've seen my share of unsporting behavior. The purpose of school sports is for kids to have fun, develop their skills, and learn lessons that will last a lifetime. So when you attend a school contest, please keep that in mind. Remember to behave in a way that reflects positively on your child, your school, and your community. Let's respect the game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
And now the upbeat weather reports homage to the famous jazz club Berkeley. Our next tune, Santana Smooth, features the Princeton drill team. And their parents. Now Bartolome and Floridalma Ramirez. Ashley Borden, daughter of Frederick and Cynthia Borden. Frances Bridenstine, daughter of Tom and Melissa Bridenstine. Imani Brookins, daughter of Shelley and Donda Brookins. Mrs. Becky Heckman. Michael Kripe, son of Michael and Kyoko Kripe. Gabrielle Davis is escorted by Sean Davis and Lily Edwards, standing in memory of Robert Davis. Alana Douglas, daughter of Brandon and Sandra Douglas. Taraya Early, daughter of Terry Moody. Allison Ellery, daughter of Melvin and Felicia Phillips. Kiera Jackson, daughter of Aaron Jackson and Krista Finnerson. Asa James, daughter of Dylan and Wendy James. Jacob Knox, son of Edward Knox. Jesse Kufel, son of Reverend Tim Kufel and Beth Kufel. Jonathan Finney Kutcher, son of Lewis and Paula Kutcher. Rachel Lewis, daughter of Mike and Beth Lewis. Jeremy Mack, escorted by grandparents Claude and Sheila Dallas. Dana Medeiros, daughter of Steve and Shirley Williams. Michael Mendoza, son of Oscar and Pam Mendoza. Toby Moore, son of Roy Ann Johnson Moore and Daryl Moore. Rachel Norman Minton, daughter of Wayne and Amy Norman Minton. Luis Ramirez, son of Lydia Ramirez and Israel Gonzalez. Desiree Reeves, daughter of Charmaine Reeves and Brian Canada. Taylor Roberts, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Anthony P.T. Roberts II. Malik Robinson, son of Romaine Robinson. Kendra Russell, daughter of Ted and Robin Russell. Christina Schwemberger, daughter of James and Julie Schwemberger. Spencer Snyder, son of Rick and Kim Snyder. Brennan Sparks, daughter of Robert and Michelle Sparks. Lauren Trickey, daughter of Rich and Robin Trickey. Niles Thomas Whipple, son of Trudy Whipple and Daryl Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the class of 2017. Once again, we honor our seniors one more time as we feature them in a performance from their freshman year, Earth, Wind, and Fire's In the Stone.
welcome you back to Princeton High School. Our halftime score, the visiting Sycamore Aviators leading the Princeton Vikings by a score of 28-14. And partner, it was an interesting first half. Well, the last 2 minutes of the first half anyway, and some untimely and undisciplined penalties on both sides.
Yeah, unfortunately, the mental bearing, as they say, went by the wayside, and Sycamore had a couple of calls go against them that gave the Vikings a very short field, which the Vikings were able to take advantage of. And then Princeton, conversely, after the touchdown, got in on the act, and kind of their extra point kicker, Spencer Schneider, I believe it is, had to come on and kick something really kind of at the edge of his range, I think. Was around the 25-yard line or so. It would have been interesting to have been a fly on the wall in the locker rooms to talk about regaining your composure and getting rid of the silliness, let's say, to be nice about it, and focusing on doing your job.
And the officials, in an interesting move here right before the beginning of the second half, seemed to want to nip this thing in the bud as they called a couple of players, one from each team, out to midfield, and had a little meeting with to reiterate the fact that, hey, we had some unsportsmanlike conduct calls there at the end of the first half. We're not going to have that in the second half, are we, Bull?
Yeah, that's it's a smart move. Somewhat limited in effect. You're relying on one player to take that message back to how many kids, but hopefully the various coaches on both staffs have reinforced that with their charges as we prepare for the second half here. And so, guys, we can't afford to do this. This is a ball game either way you look at it from both teams' perspective, and can't give back yards or give up yards that you don't need to give up. So speaking of giving up yards, I think Sycamore's defense has done a great job of limiting Princeton's attack on the edges. I think they like to get guys, spread you out across the formation and get guys who can get out into space and make a play. And they've effectively taken that away from the Vikings tonight, made them somewhat one-dimensional, and the receivers haven't been able to do a great job of getting open. And the offensive line's not done a great job of blocking to give read time to get his passes off. Now for the Aviators, things seem to be going pretty well for them. They're doing a good job of taking away the rushing attack when they're on defense, covering those receivers. And offensively, Rayvon Bonner's having his way. Jake Borman's having his way to a certain extent. So, should be an interesting second half of adjustments here. We'll see if anything jumps out at us. We'll let you know. But one thing I would do if I were the Princeton Vikings is throw away that blitz, because every time they ran it tonight, Sycamore's torched them for big yards.
They have indeed, and Sycamore will get another opportunity. They won the toss to begin the ball game and deferred, so they will receive Spencer Schneider's second half kickoff, a high short kick fielded at the 20. Coming across the 25, running room out across the 35 to the 38-yard line. That short kick goes Christian Kelly.
And a good job of blocking by this Sycamore special teams unit to open up a nice little hole here. You'll see on the replays, he comes back into the middle of the field, and there's that blocking. There's a nice size hole. You could have driven a Metro bus through and picked up about 7 extra yards there. So very good field position here for Sycamore to start.
1st and 10 at their own 37. A quick injury update from the first half. Number 25, Leroy Wilson for Princeton, went out of this ball game early. Spent the entire first half sitting on the training table down in front of us, and we just saw him hobbling around on some crutches. So he is done for the evening as this one complete to the near side, and running down the near sideline, number 41, Myron Williams on the reception, and a big gain on first down all the way down to the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Aviators.
And so far, Sycamore's been able to do offensively what Princeton hasn't been able to do, and that's get guys out on the edges and make plays in space. You see Borman, not a green or gray jersey in the area, and there's Williams off to the races and forced out of bounds.
41 yards on the pass for Borman to Williams. Borman hands to Bonner around the left side, following his blockers, and they will track him down at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, able to turn the corner and pick up 3 hard-fought yards.
It'll bring up a 2nd and 7 as you take a look at the replay here.
Tackle made by number 1, Terrence Smith.
Good blocking out in front. One would-be tackler was put off. It's a nice block put on number 18, Jamal Hines, to give Bonner time to pick up that 2 or 3 yards.
Josh Field, big number 76, out in front, leading the way for Bonner that time.
This is dangerous for Princeton. They're stacking that line, leaving a lot of one-on-one coverage, and there goes Bonner.
Burned him again around the left side, breaking tackles. Bonner's loose. Touchdown, Sycamore.
And we've got an injured Viking out at the 25-yard line, but yeah, it's just dangerous. Anything you try to do, they'll make you pay somewhere else. So you're going to take away the middle of the field? Fine. We'll get out and turn the corner on you, and that's exactly what they did here. Look at Bonner. Oh, my gosh.
Leaving tacklers in his wake. 4 or 5 Vikings had a shot at him there.
I think 5 guys had a hand on him at one point.
And he strolls into the end zone.
And this injured Viking is down about where Bonner turned the corner, so a block may have done the damage on whoever that injured player is out there for the Vikings. Got the training staff out there taking a look.
Unable to see the number from this angle, but pending the extra point, Sycamore about to go up by 3 touchdowns again.
It's a good sign to see some movement because there wasn't much movement early. And the first digit's a 3, shaking the left ankle. Can't need him to turn around a little bit so I can see the second 33.
Surrounded. And that's Freddie Price, senior linebacker.
Yeah, don't want to lose senior leadership at this point.
One of the guys who had a shot at Bonner there as he turned the corner and might have got that left ankle rolled up on. Yeah, but able to jog off under his own power. That's a great sign.
Yeah, I think we'll see him back after a play or two. But here we go, Hasselbeck for the point after kick.
Well, spotted at the 10, so in essence, a 20-yard field goal for Hasselbeck. He's perfect on the night. And this one is good as well. And so, with 1 minute and 2 seconds gone by here in the second half, the Sycamore Aviators back on top by 3 touchdowns, 35-14.
Yeah, and this puts Princeton in a difficult situation because one of the things we talked about in the first half was keeping the offense off the field. You want long drives if you're Princeton. Well, they've not been able to sustain long drives, and at this point, you're down 21 points. You've got to score some points in a hurry, which, again, may take you somewhat out of your element in how you wanted to approach this game. So you go out and score early. That puts that Sycamore offense right back on the field. So, yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 for Princeton at this point. Bottom line is they got to figure out a way to stop the Aviator offense and figure out a way to score some points on offense.
Solomon Reed comes into the ball game with 17 touchdown passes on the season. And they will need some magic out of his right arm to climb back into this one.
Yeah, and Reed's really not had a lot of time on that. The game plan has been quick throws, and that's fine. But the offensive line really hasn't shown us at this point they're able to pass block effectively to give a big, long play a chance to develop down the field. So it's a real conundrum for this Vikings coaching staff. Everything they're doing doesn't seem to be working. They can't get their speed and skill guys going out on the edges. And defensively, it seems like everything they do, Sycamore has an answer for on offense.
And a flag thrown on the kickoff by Hasselbeck. This will be offsides against the Aves. And so they will back them up 5 yards and try it again. And we talked about it a little bit the first half, partner. The offensive and defensive lines for the Sycamore Aviators are simply winning the battles up front.
Yeah, they're a very well-coached group. They are a very talented group. Prototypical linemen, 6'4", 6'6", 300 pounds. I mean, you got some big guys out there pushing bodies around on that offensive line, which enables Rayvon Bonner to be successful, which gives Jake Borman time to get some things going on offense. So, yeah, its game plan is working as prescribed.
So Hasselbeck will tee it up at the 35 and try it again.
don't think it's going to make a ton of difference.
I would agree. This time he'll squib it, though, to the far side, and that will roll out of bounds.
Yeah.
And so the Vikings will be the recipient of a miscue by the Sycamore special teams.
That didn't work, right? Not the way you draw it up.
Not at all. Might have wanted to go ahead and kick that one deep.
So Josh Feld, number 76, 6'5", 305. You know, that's a big dude. You're getting into D1 range there when you're 6'5", 6'6" as an offensive lineman. Zach Richardson, number 74, 6'6", 285. I love this. His favorite food, large order of ribs, and he capitalized all the letters in large. Well, give me that short order. I want the full slab, man.
And I have no doubt he can put every single one of them away and
maybe two.
Maybe ask for, I'll have all this again.
I mean, I'd like to see him coming in when they can do the all-you-can-eat ribs over in Montgomery.
Handoff. They're trying to sweep it around the right side with Kozlowski, and he might have picked up a yard. And that's about it.
We always get some interesting feedback on our player info sheets, but that's the first time I've seen food featured that prominently. Normally you get, I like mac and cheese or whatever. So, but back to football. Yeah, again, Princeton just not able to get things going out on the edge. I mean, they maybe picked up a yard there.
Great pursuit that time by the Sycamore Aviators. It does bring up a 2nd and 9. Reed throwing near side to Henderson, complete, but he's going to be dragged down immediately by Christian Kelly. He'll pick up maybe 3 out to the 44-yard line.
And that's all this Sycamore defense is giving you, letting you dump off out to the edges in a hurry, but then you've got tremendous athletic pursuit right there, which is going to limit the yards after catch.
We're talking about some of the player feedbacks. I'll get to Rayvon Bonners here in just a second. As Reed and the Vikings look at a 3rd and 7 here. Going deep down the hash and intended for C.J. Henderson, and he overshoots him, and that'll bring up 4th and long.
Reed just doesn't look comfortable. He's having to get rid of balls quicker than he wants, and it seems like they're relying on a lot of timing throws, and the receivers just can't get there because the pressure is coming so quickly.
Yeah, he's looked hurried all night, hasn't he? Just not comfortable in the pocket, not able to, aside from the one strike to Kozlowski that he threw from his own 4-yard line that got out near midfield. Other than that, it has been a long night.
Now some confusion on who's supposed to be on the field for the punt play.
Play clock down to 5. They'll get it off.
Sycamore not bringing much pressure at all. 2 guys up the middle was it.
Fair catch called for by Kelly, and he'll watch it bounce out of bounds.
Sycamore pretty content because they know their offense is able to take advantage of what this Princeton defense is giving them at this point, Dave.
A nice punt there by Kozlowski. Got a decent bounce out of it, so they'll back Sycamore up to the 22-yard line.
Yeah, Kozlowski's no slouch as a punter. If memory serves me right, he was 1st or 2nd team all GMC last year. So, between what he was able to do catching the ball early on and, what he's done punting-wise, he's kind of the MVP for this Vikings team at this point. You need some other guys to step up now, though.
Most definitely. They've got to try to get a stop here. You don't want to let this lead get any bigger than it is. But if you are the Vikings,
you're already fighting an uphill battle mentally, I believe. And you give up another touchdown here that, hate to say it, but you can see Princeton start to fold the tents a little bit. And there they go
going for it all.
Deep strike.
Home run ball. He was looking for Myron Williams and just over the outstretched arms and off the fingertips of Williams, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
Scott Datillo smells blood in the water. He knows that he could take the Vikings out of this game mentally. And look, clean pocket, no pressure. Man was beat, just a little too much mustard on it, as they say.
Absolutely. He had Myron Williams and
fingertips, man. If he had basketball players' hands, he would have caught that, right?
Yep.
Had those big mitts. Or offensive lineman hands, one or the other.
Just a half a step too long. Handoff goes to guess who? Bonner over the left side out to the 32-yard line. We'll spot him at the 33.
Yeah, and just, you know, speaking of MVPs, Rayvon Bonner is just everything for this Sycamore football team on offense. I mean, it starts and stops with him, and that's saying a lot considering how good Borman is, Malik, Fall, Williams, all tremendous guys, but Bonner, it's just all about him and his offensive line, too.
There he goes again. He's going to have the first down and a little bit more out to the 36-yard line. Rayvon Bonner, 17 years old, 6 feet tall, 210 pounds. Favorite pastime other than football?
Poetry. It's a renaissance man.
Favorite food? In all caps, food in general. Favorite movie? Remember the Titans. Favorite NFL team? The Bengals. College aspirations? Wants to play football. Perhaps major in religion and philosophy. A man after my own heart.
Yeah.
That was one of my dual majors in school, and he is undecided as to where he wants to go to school.
But is verbally committed to Illinois. Not
go.
Official till he signs signs on the line in February. Did announce on Instagram a week or two ago that he's committed to Illinois, but we've seen stranger things happen with some coaches flipping kids before we get to that
yes, indeed,
moment of truth when it comes time to sign on a dotted line. So.
Yes, indeed. They will have quite a player coming to Champaign if, in fact, the Illini can hang on to him. As there he goes again around the left side on a second down carry, and he will be very close to the first down. I believe he picked it up.
Ooh, a certain team that plays their games down in Clifton that could use a running back right about now.
Mm-hmm. I would venture to say there are many on the Division I level that would covet this young man's services. And it is good for a first down. They'll spot him at the 47-yard line. 7:36 to go, third quarter.
Yeah, so
Sycamore looking to add on.
Sycamore doing what Princeton was hoping to do, and that's keep their offense on the field.
A lot of ball control tonight. Simply handing off to Rayvon Bonner. Borman rolling near side, complete to Myron Williams. He's got blocking in front of him. 20, 15, now surrounded by Vikings, and they will drop him at the 13-yard line. What a great pitch and catch. Borman to Williams.
Yeah, that's a big boy play by Borman. Spun around away from the pressure that he sensed coming and able to get it over to Williams, who turned on the Jets from there.
So good blocking out in front of him as well here.
Yeah, see him roll out, able to dump it off over, before the pressure got much closer. And it's all Williams from there. And good job of staying in bounds to keep that clock moving.
And how about the camera work from our ICRC crew there? Beautiful shot coming right into your living room that time.
Always very fortunate in the top-notch talent we get. Come out and work these games.
Yes, indeed. Bonner fighting his way down to the 1-yard line, and it'll be first and goal for the Aves.
That run was by number 21, Rayvon Bonner.
As we mentioned in the first half, we are seeking volunteers, camera operators, announcers, guys to learn the truck side of it. So visit ICRC-TV.com for more info. And Bonner, just we're running out of adjectives to describe this kid. Can we just go stud? We'll just say stud from here on out.
That works for me.
Bonner, stud. Enough said.
He'll get to complete what he started. Is
close to being tackled.
Right up the gut and comes up limping just a little bit, does Rayvon Bonner. Reaching for that left ankle. Keep an eye on that. You don't want to see that young man get hurt.
I'm no football coach, but I play one on Friday nights. At this point, I give him a little bit of a break and let some other guys carry the load until Princeton poses a little more of a threat on offense.
I would have to agree. Hasselbeck on to attempt the extra point, and Bonner playing the left wing in that formation. Extra point up and good, and it's a 4-touchdown lead for the Aviators. And with Bonner limping gingerly over to the far sideline on that left ankle. We'll see if we see number 21 again this evening.
I'll tell you, saw a little bit of pressure coming in from the near side from Terrence Smith. We're bound to see a block kick tonight. Both these teams are doing an excellent job of getting pressure in on special teams plays, so it's bound to happen sooner or later.
That's been about the only battle on the line of scrimmage that Princeton has won a couple of times, honestly. And I'm not trying to pile on the Vikings. Sure. They're having a rough night tonight, but the truth of the matter is they've been getting beat at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense, but for some reason on special teams they're getting good penetration.
They are. I don't know if they're overloading one side. We'll have to take a look in the next go-round, but yeah, I would be shocked if we don't see somebody at least get a finger on one before this is done here in a matter of an hour or so. Halfway through basically the third quarter at this point.
6:51 to go. And if you are a Princeton Viking fan, the sad but true tale, 42-14 in favor of the visiting Sycamore Aviators. A must-win game tonight for the Aviators. Really for both teams, but the Aviators especially.
22, C.J. Henderson.
Nice job of breaking a tackle there. Henderson down the near sideline.
The flag inside the 40. The Vikings 40.
Flag behind the play. And a great run back by C.J. Henderson is going to be all for naught.
It was kicked to the far side of the field. He comes over to the near side, but I had a feeling somebody did some blocking they weren't supposed to.
It is an illegal block in the back against the Vikings.
Yeah. Vikings keep stubbing their toe at inopportune times tonight when they get a little bit of momentum. Now, this certainly isn't a drive killer by any means, but you'd really like to have those yards back they just gave up in the penalty.
Yeah, you would much rather have it out near midfield than at your own 28. Still good starting field position, but yeah, you'd much rather have those perhaps 18 to 22 yards that they just gave up on that penalty. Hand off to Raekwon Robinson, and he is going nowhere.
Nothing. I mean, just Princeton cannot get into their element tonight, the things they want to do. So it's very frustrating for the Vikings and their coaches at this point, I think, that they're just totally out of their element.
Dropped for a 3-yard loss back to the 25, brings up 2nd and 13, 6:10 to go, third quarter. They trail it by 4 touchdowns. Reed looking to throw near side to Kozlowski, complete. Christian Kelly on him immediately. And he's dropped after a gain of 5, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 8. And I gotta believe that Sycamore will be content to give up those little dump passes all night long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you? Because you've got the skilled players for the defensive athleticism out on the end to shut down Princeton skill players at this point. So, yeah, keep doing that. We'll let you chip away a couple yards here, but nothing happening deep short of the early play to Kozlowski.
Here's one complete to Kozlowski near side, good for a first down out to the 39-yard line. He got just a yard more than he needed.
Yeah, and it's been a story we've talked about all night. Reed's just not had time to get through his progressions. They're looking for quick strikes out on the end. And, Kozlowski comes up a little limp with or injured with a wrist after that last play, being tended to on the sideline, and looks to be in a moderate amount of agony, let's say.
He is in some measure of discomfort down on the Princeton bench. Being attended to. Tyrese Mills goes up the middle for a gain of 4. It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
No, and that's, Princeton did a good job with the first level of blocking, but the second level was right there packed in tight and no room for anywhere to go if you're in a gray jersey and red helmet.
Reed looking to throw over the middle, almost intercepted, tipped up into the air. Twice. Number 30, Josh Glenn, got his hands on it first. It was intended for Taj Martin, number 26. He got a hand on it. And fortunately for him, he didn't pop it up into the air any higher than he did because there was another Sycamore defender behind him who had a shot at it.
Patrick Tulma. Sorry for missed that pronunciation.
Fortunately for the Vikings, it fell incomplete, but it's 3rd and 6. Reed under pressure and just dumps it over the middle into no man's land.
He stepped up into pressure and had to get rid of the balls he was being drugged down from behind, and very nearly threw it right to a gaggle of aviators in the middle of the field, as it was a deep route set up that his blocking just couldn't sustain.
Josh Glenn and Grant Young were the 2 nearest players to that ball, and unfortunately for Reed, those guys play for Sycamore.
Now there's your normal punter being tended to on the sideline. Kozlowski is the normal punter, so now we got a backup punter in the game to execute this one.
Gets it away. It's a wobbly low kick. It'll check up and die right at the 25-yard line, so not a bad job of filling in there by Raphael Floyd.
Yeah.
13.
So Kozlowski, very valuable. You know, we've called his name a bunch tonight, offense, defense, and special teams, and so far he's not left his spot at the end of the bench down there near the Vikings 40-yard line.
Yeah, he is still in considerable pain there. He's trying to work that wrist and flex the fingers a little bit, and they just don't appear to be cooperating.
Look at the size of this offensive line coming out. We don't have the camera on it, but
just they look like a D1 college line, to be quite honest. The first, the center, the left guard, the left tackle.
Yeah, it's
the right tackle. Yeah, those are college-sized players right there. Borman. A little swing pass complete to the far side out to the 30-yard line.
And I'll tell you the thing that's particularly interesting about that. Sycamore is our friend Scott Springer, who's here tonight for the Inquirer, has mentioned a couple times this season. They're only 20 or 40 kids away from being a Division II team. So to have that kind of size on an offensive line for a smaller Division I team, if that makes sense, is really kind of unique. You know, they're not drawing from a bunch of kids, you know, where you can get the pick of the litter. They're just very fortunate they got kids that size, I think. And kids that have worked hard to get themselves in shape to do that.
Perhaps something in the water up there in the Blue Ash area as Jonathan Malik comes to the near side across the 40 to the 42. That'll be another first down for the Aviators.
Rayvon Bonner's still out there. It wasn't him, obviously, as you called Malik, but Bonner's back out there after coming off with that ankle, little gimpy on the last possession.
Boy, he is indeed.
Watch this block.
And he throws a nice block right there on number 11, Anthony Rogers.
He did his job. The guys behind him came in and pursued him. Bonner did his job.
Rayvon Bonner doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, he's just a special athlete. Can't say it enough.
In the pistol now behind Borman. He'll take it over the left side. Splits a couple of defenders and picks up about 2.5.
Yeah, one of the few times he's been limited tonight, and how many yards he picks up on a carry. Normally he's good for 5, 6, 7, you know.
And he gets up holding his left wrist. Might have taken a helmet right on the wrist there. He got it bent under. But yeah, I don't like second-guessing coaches at all. But as we were talking about on the previous series, I might have taken Bonner out for this series.
Yeah, if you have any hopes of getting to the playoffs, you need him healthy next week. And if you do make the playoffs, you need him healthy to advance. Not that they can't succeed without him, but he's obviously a huge part of what they do as we have an injured Viking down around midfield. So all of a sudden we went from some personal foul shenanigans to a lot of injuries here in the second half and a very physical game in the trenches.
Pads are a-popping out there along the line of scrimmage, and we've seen guys down for both sides, but it seems that the Princeton Vikings are taking the worst end of it. We've seen several Vikings on the field, on their backs being tended to after being injured. 2:40 to go, third quarter. Sycamore leads it 42-14 as the Aviators take a knee in deference to the injured opponent. And we keep talking about Rayvon Bonner, and one of the things that further impresses you about the young man is he was the first one to take a knee when he noticed that an opponent was down, and he immediately started signaling his teammates to take a knee as well. Good sportsmanship.
Yeah, just the things you hear about him, very humble young man, always quick to give credit to his offensive line for the things he's able to achieve as a running back. Just everything you'd want in an athlete, I think.
You can see him there leading the cheers and the clapping as the...
We're going to go look at a replay here. Our producer, director Jason in the truck is saying took a knee to the face. Oof.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
From his own man, it appears.
Oh.
Ouch. He certainly did. That's number 18, Jamal Hines, who is being helped off the field for the Vikings and now being tended to on the training table.
Down here. One of our keys to the game tonight. They needed him to stop the run. And now turning into the walking wounded here for the guys in red and gray tonight.
Hand off Bonner, left side. He's got the first down on a 3rd and 2. Down to the 45 of the Vikings.
I've never called a football game in my life that didn't involve a video game controller, but I think Rayvon Bonner can make anybody look like a brilliant coach.
I would have to agree.
Wow.
He has been hauling the mail tonight.
And that's not to take credit away from Scott Till and his staff by any means. I hope you understand that. But, man, it's just, this kind of like, what you got to do. You're going to give it to him. And you give him a break and you go to somebody else. Just like there. He's going to be the lead blocker for Malik.
Indeed, Malik on the carry that time, and it'll be good for another Sycamore first down.
And Sycamore doing the things Princeton can't do tonight. That's get first down on a consistent basis.
First down for the Aves.
So just a tremendous job by the Sycamore offensive players of getting blocks and getting their skill players room in which to operate. Across under 2 minutes now in the 3rd quarter.
Got a good look from behind there a moment ago at big number 74, Zach Richardson. You mentioned him a little bit ago, Glenn. 6'6", 285.
Yeah.
Senior offensive lineman as Bonner goes up the middle again for another 7 yards on first down, and another Viking goes down.
Ran into a little bit of traffic there to Bonner, which limited his gain, but another injured player for the Vikings. Now, we talked in the pregame show about keeping Sycamore's offense off the field. This isn't what we had in mind.
No, not at all.
I mean, that just tells you how physical this game is, that we're getting all these injuries here in the 3rd quarter.
And again, can't quite see the number on the player being attended to, but he's motioning to his lower back. And the training staff checking the feeling in his extremities. So we are seeing movement in all 4 extremities. That's the good news, and able to move his head. But I've had that happen during a game where you either get bent or you take a helmet to the lower back and it turns into almost a stinger that goes down both of your legs, and you can be momentarily paralyzed. You end up being fine afterwards, but it scares the living daylights out of you, that's for sure.
We'll go back here and look on replay, and again, this is Viking on Viking crime. Right there. You can see it.
Yep. Got him right in the top of the helmet.
It's got to be scary.
46, Michael Francis is the Viking being attended to, and good to see him up on his feet and walking off under his own power.
That's just got to be a scary feeling when that happens as a player, and wondering, can I feel everything?
Yeah, you'd immediately begin to take stock and Start checking if you can feel your fingertips and toes. And
can't imagine the panic.
And again, not trying to diagnose an injury from this far away, but it certainly seemed like when he was motioning to his lower back that, and then they began to check the extremities, that would kind of lead you to believe that perhaps a stinger situation occurred. But again, walking off under his own power. But the problem is there's a line at the training table.
Yeah. And they're calling this 2nd and 3, but it's very nearly 2nd and 4. That's a long 3.
Swing pass, and coming back up the middle, cutting back inside is Kadeem Fall, and he's going to be real close to the first down.
It looked to me like we're at an odd angle, but it looked to me like you got it, and there's the signal. Yeah, to move the stick. So, yeah, 2nd and long 3, no problem. Another first down.
We mentioned the line at the training table for the Vikings. Jamal Hines still on the table being attended to. So Michael Francis is having to wait his turn. It's turned into a war of attrition for the Vikings tonight.
It's Malik again.
Coming near side on the sweep. Oh my goodness, he took a hit.
Popped right back up there.
Indeed he did. Terrence Smith, number 1 for the Vikings.
Well, the few times the Princeton offense, or the Sycamore offense, hasn't been able to do what it wants to do tonight.
Take a look at this shot at the end of that play as Terrence Smith laid the wood on Jonathan Malik. That'll do it for the 3rd quarter. We will swap ends of the field, and it will be 2nd and 7 when we get back to action with the score 42-14 in favor of the visiting Sycamore Aviators.
I don't know what you can do if you're Princeton at this point on offense, because you're just not able to get in any rhythm, find anything that's working. They're a spread offense, but it makes you wonder if you almost put them in a shotgun and keep a back end to block for them just to give them some time, because the short little dump offs on the ends aren't working because they can't do anything when the passes are complete. They're not able to pick up any yards. So you've got 12 minutes left. You need 28 points. And full moon wreaking a little havoc here for the Vikings offense tonight.
Indeed it is on senior night here at Princeton High School. And it is not going the way that senior Solomon Reed and several of his senior teammates would have liked.
Vikings being recognized, younger players in the end zone that abuts up to Chester Road, recognizing the future of the Vikings program here. Give Pat McLaughlin credit. He's come in here and turned things around and raised expectations in a hurry for Princeton. Just got to be somewhat disappointing getting behind last week to Hamilton and getting behind this week to Sycamore. Both very good teams, not to take away from either of those teams. But Princeton, I think, has the skill players to go toe-to-toe. They just got to get better on the offensive and defensive lines.
That has
to take that next step, I think.
Yeah, that's been the bugaboo for them tonight, certainly.
And again, we talked about it a few times. Sycamore has an outstanding offensive and defensive line, but I think Coach McLaughlin would even tell you they're going to have to get bigger, stronger, faster, and improve their skills if they want to be able to compete in the GMC.
3rd and 2, play clock is going to run out. And did they get a timeout called? They did. So the Aves were a little bit confused on that 3rd and 2 play, and all of a sudden they noticed the play clock was down to 1, and I couldn't see if it was the sideline or if Jake Borman got the timeout called, but at any rate, they go ahead and spend their first time out of the second half with 11-12 remaining in the game. And a comfortable lead of 28 points, 42-14. And they will talk it over with the ball spotted on the Princeton 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 2 when they get back to action.
So we are in week 8 here in Ohio. There'll be 2 weeks left after tonight for these teams to make their playoff case, which, it all comes down to the Harbin points. There's nothing subjective about it. You live and die based on your performance. So, some work still to do for both of these teams to lock up a spot in their respective playoff divisions. So,
and it doesn't get a whole lot easier as far as Princeton's concerned. They've got Mason and Middletown. As Bonner fighting his way down inside the 5-yard line, it'll be 1st and goal once again for the Aviators.
And Sycamore with Oak Hills next week for senior night at Sycamore. And again, we talked about the quarterback for the Highlanders, nearly 2,000 yards passing at this point, so that's going to test this Aviators defense. And then a epic tilt looming with Mason in week 10 up at Dwyer Field.
Oh my goodness, Rayvon Bonner down on the ground for the Sycamore Aviators. It appears to be nothing more than a cramp as they're stretching out his left leg, but we talked about the wisdom of having this young man in this ball game that is all but decided.
I'd take his helmet.
Yeah, I would have to agree. They're
tell everybody, don't you dare give him one.
They're stretching out both legs, so I got to believe it's just a cramp issue. But
I don't tempt fate at this point with a good lead and more than capable backups or replacements, however you want to phrase it. Let's keep him healthy for Oak Hills and Mason, because they're going to need to win both of those games. And both very good teams. I mean, this GMC is as good top to bottom this year as it's been in a long time. We know we've talked ad nauseum about Coleraine. We won't belabor the point there, but just all the teams in this GMC that are having success this year. Fairfield playing aforementioned Coleraine tonight and hanging in there again to the fourth quarter when that depth always seems to become a selling point for the Cardinals. Just a big logjam of teams with 2 conference losses. Oak Hills, Princeton, Lakota East, Mason, Fairfield. And then you get down to Hamilton, who picked up their first GMC win last week. Lakota West, only 1 win, and Middletown struggling a little bit this year. But just top to bottom, you expect Coleraine to be good, but the rest of the conference is as competitive as ever. Sorry,
Brian Donaghy on the touchdown. No, not at all. Brian Donaghy on the touchdown run.
I thought I saw a flag fly down.
The Aviators.
Can't tell through the glare up here, but I thought I saw a flag.
I believe you're right. The officials are huddling right near the goal line, and I got to believe this is going to be a dead ball, unsportsmanlike call again after the play as you take a look at the replay there.
And at this point, if that kind of garbage, let's just call it what it is going to go on, you have an opportunity to make a statement and sit those players down and get some other guys in there and get them some reps. Just to be blunt. Agree or disagree if you want, but, an opportunity to send a message.
I agree totally. I agree totally, and I believe that this one is going to go against Princeton. And
I'm sure there's some crowing going on out there from the guys in white and gold or white and yellow, but your job's to stop them. Anybody can push after the play. You got to stop them when it matters between the whistles.
Point after try up and good, and it has turned into a good old-fashioned butt whipping here at Princeton High School, 49-14. In favor of the Sycamore Aviators. 10:47 left to go in the ball game, and I did not see a signal from the referee, but according to the Sycamore Aviators coaches in the booth next to us, it was an unsportsmanlike conduct against Princeton that they were going to assess on the kickoff. So it must have been a dead ball after the touchdown was scored by the sophomore Brian Donaghy.
Well, and the other thing too, Dave, now Mission Impossible becomes even more difficult because you're going to have a running clock to contend with.
Yeah.
So we talked in the pregame show about the things that Princeton and Sycamore were going to have to do to be successful, and I think Sycamore can check those boxes, and Princeton cannot at this point, and that's not even taking into consideration the personal foul issues that both teams have had. It's just been Princeton not able to do what they want to do offensively and keep the Sycamore offense off the field.
And the frustration certainly beginning to show on the Princeton side of things, as now Hasselbeck will get to kick this one off from the Princeton 45-yard line. And
it's the second week in a row we've seen this. Didn't we see this last one?
Yeah, I believe so.
Bacon and CJ.
And you got to believe Mr. Hasselbeck will put this one right in the middle of the marching band. And
wide right.
Just a bit, yeah. Didn't have quite enough leg to get it over the crossbar that time, but I honestly don't think he was really trying.
No,
so,
you got to do. You knew what was coming unless he squibbed it, so he's not gonna, put that up.
That'll be a touchback for the Vikings. They will get the ball at their own 20-yard line with 10:47 to work with, trailing 49-14.
And the clock will only stop for a penalty or change of possession. Running out of bounds doesn't save you any time.
3 wides for Solomon Reed, and a little early movement. I think the halfback got away with one there.
Yeah.
He took a step before the ball was snapped, but I might have been the only one to see it.
Where's that been all night? That's one of the few times we've seen Princeton been able to get some positive yards running up the gut.
5 yards for Raekwon Robinson. Brings up a 2nd and 5. 3 wides now for Reed. Handoff again. Robinson trying to get around the right side, and he's going to be picked up and thrown backwards. Flag.
Flag comes in from the judge, or the ref on the near side of the field between the 25 and 30.
Jimmy Traub came out of there with the football, tried to strip it out of the ball carrier's hands, but he was ruled down by forward progress.
And that will stop. Well, the clock's running now. I thought it stopped on a penalty.
Yeah, it is still going, isn't it? 9:44, 43. This one marched off against Sycamore. And it will give the Vikings a first down. A face mask, apparently, against Sycamore. And Princeton will have it at their own 42-yard line. Clock still running, though. 9:24 to go. 1st and 10 Vikings.
I don't think it's a case that nobody has noticed at this point. I just think that, kind of is what it is at this point. In terms of protesting the clock still running.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 30 seconds that Princeton gave up there.
Yeah. Robinson stopped after a gain of a yard. Out to the 43-yard line, 2nd and 9. 8:55 to go.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we thought this game would be a lot closer, but hats off to Sycamore. Their game plan has been executed to perfection, and Princeton just not able to get done what they need to do to compete against a team this talented at this point.
Swarming defense again, that time by the Aviators. Drops Terrence Smith in the backfield for a loss, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 12.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see some substitutions come in for the Aves. Wish we had the luxury of stats tonight to see where Rayvon Bonner ended up.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that total myself.
Yeah, I mean, his rushing yards are going to be insane, but his all-purpose yards are probably ridiculous too.
Reed, long throw near side, incomplete. Looking for Kozlowski, who's back in the ball game. That's good to see for Princeton.
Got to catch, you got to complete that pass. It's a little bit high. I think Kozlowski gave it a somewhat valiant effort to go get it, but you've got to catch that. Or make a better throw, excuse me.
Just out of his reach there, and it brings up 4th and 12. And
that one he went after it with, excuse me, Dave, is the one that he was getting tended to on the sideline, that left hand. So
can't blame him for maybe alligator arming that a little bit. Not saying he did. It was out of his reach. Reed's going to be dropped. And
tried to step up and stepped right into more trouble.
The Vikes are going to turn it over on downs. And the clock stops momentarily at 7:24 to go.
Short field for the Aviators.
ball at the Princeton 37-yard line.
It's like giving Kareem stilts.
Yeah, it's a bit like taking oranges to Florida.
Yeah.
They just don't need them.
Yeah. So, you know, Coach McLaughlin had no choice. He had to go for it there.
Yeah.
For one thing, Kozlowski's a little tender from the injury. And secondly, what punting doesn't do you any good at this point. You're down by 35 points. Got to try to score and get the live game reps against a very good opponent. So.
And we will see a change at quarterback for the Aviators. Jonathan Malik. High snap. Wow. Trouble for the Aves, and Malik will fall on it. Back at his own 41-yard line.
What was that I was saying about a short field?
Yeah, it was for a moment.
It's still short. Not the way it was.
Short going to the other side now.
Yeah, that looks like we've had some subs up on the O-line as well. So, you know, it's just the price you pay for getting some in-game experience, you know, for the future of Aviator football and getting your starters some rest heading into the battle with the Highlanders next week.
I believe that's Trevor Jansen now in at center, number 67, who snapped that one over Malik's head. This one's good. Coming near side on the handoff is Brian Donaghy again, who just scored a touchdown a few moments ago that put him up 49-14.
I'll tell you what, Sycamore's doing something right in how they're bringing their running backs up through the system from the youth levels through junior high and into high school. I mean, these kids are all quick, good technique, good vision. There's a lot of good things in store for Sycamore in the near future, in my opinion. A lot of talented, skilled players. It's going to have to replace some of those big hosses on the offensive line.
And this is Ben Grossheim at center now, number 62. Handoff Donaghy again, right side, and down to the 40-yard line.
So since we're into that point of the game where we're just trying to whittle away these last few minutes, broadcasters' pet peeve time, they ought to make a rule where you can't touch or toss footballs in the air on the sideline.
Yeah.
Every time I see a football in the air, I think it's a flag.
That was, I'll be honest, that was a bit distracting.
Yeah.
And
there we see an injured player being tended to on the Vikings sideline over on the training table and getting some, well, not tended to, but getting some encouragement from one of his teammates. There's crutches there. And
that's Solomon Reed talking to Jamal Hines.
Yeah.
Hines is still down on that training table and still in some measure of discomfort.
Yeah, it's just truly unfortunate the amount of injuries we've seen for Princeton tonight. You know, going into another tough game against Mason next week. I mean, this has been a gauntlet. Hamilton last week, Sycamore this week, Mason next week. And, you know, they'll end the season up at Barnett Stadium in Middletown against a Middletown team that's on a little bit of a downswing this year. But certainly the injuries are not making things any easier, you know, next week at Dwyer Field.
They came into this ball game 5-2, 2-2 in the GMC, and they will leave 5-3 and 2-3 in the conference. And you're right, partner. This little gauntlet of games here may end up turning the season in a direction that the Vikings did not want to go. They'll get the ball back, as that was a 4th and 13 carry for Donaghy that was unsuccessful, and Reed will hand it off to Raekwon Robinson. 4:15 to go.
He's a little gimpy. Man.
They are dropping like flies if they're wearing gunmetal gray tonight. 2nd and 2. Call it a long one.
I believe the plan is for ICRC to bring you that Princeton at Mason matchup next week, which, you know, look to have a lot more implications than it does currently.
Robinson into the secondary and down to the 41-yard line. A nice pickup there for Raekwon Robinson.
Yeah, good play. Just, you know, unfortunately too little too late. They're doing it against backups and needed to do that early on in the game, but it's really what we expected to see out of the Vikings tonight. You know, able to show off their athleticism and just not worked out tonight.
You know, we were talking about the player feedback sheets that we get from each team, and I'm going to read you something on Jake Bormans, the quarterback from the Sycamore Aves here in just a moment, as this Handoff goes over the left side and down to the 36-yard line. As we take a look at the replay here. Number 24. Is that 44? 44.
Sorry.
14. No, 44. Yes. Deontay Gilbert.
Turn the light off on you.
According to my sheet anyway, and he will get the ball again and stopped after a gain of maybe a yard at the 35.
He tried to run our way, they just stopped him.
So take a look at the replay here.
Hearing some sideline chatter about the photographers being in the way.
3rd and 4. They've got to get down to the 31-yard line. Ball at the 35. Reed still in the game at quarterback for Princeton. Handoff left side. And disappearing in the pile.
Well, I would guess this is a professional way of waving the white flag if you're the Vikings. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen Reed trying to get some passes off just for live game reps, if nothing else.
Yeah, the Sycamore coaching staff vacating the booth next to us. They have seen enough. It'll be 4th and 3, 140 and counting. Good for a first down. Deontay Gilbert over the left side.
Well, we've been kind of tough on the Vikings tonight, but, I think Coach McLaughlin will get things turned around here. He's already got it turned around in pretty short order. And give him another year. It took him 2 years to get ready into the playoffs. If somehow they miss out in a very tough Division II field this year, they'll be right in the thick of it next year, I would be willing to bet. It was an unknown quarterback situation for Coach McLaughlin coming in this year. Solomon Reed won the job in camp, and, they did some good things early. It's just, as we said, this GMC is tough. Pretty much 1 through 9 with one team struggling a little bit this year.
Down to the final minute. Handoff good for a gain of a couple as we're down to 45 seconds. I promised to read this off of Jake Borman's sheet. Quarterback for the Sycamore Aviators. This is the only thing that would make me question this young man's judgment.
I know what you're going to say.
This entire evening. Favorite pastime other than football, playing sports. I get that. Favorite food, mac and cheese. I'm down with that. Favorite movie, Forrest Gump. Favorite NFL team, Bengals. And this is the kicker right here, folks. Favorite NFL player, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
That's – oh, Jake.
Aim higher, son. Aim higher.
Aim higher. You're better than that. That's going to do it. As the clock ticks down to 000, Jake Borman is going to have a big old smile on his face as he and his Sycamore Aviator teammates come into Princeton High School and whoop up on the Vikings tonight. The final score 49-14. Partner, your final thoughts?
Well, again, I think the future's bright for Princeton. They just didn't have the personnel to get it done tonight against a very talented Sycamore team, and I have an underscore in bold and all cap talented Sycamore.
Absolutely, and despite some lapses in judgment on both sides for both teams, we saw some undisciplined penalties, a couple of unsportsmanlikes, and a couple of personal fouls that were perhaps born out of frustration more than anything on either side. Despite all of that, you got to give Princeton credit for continuing to fight to the very end, and especially after seeing so many of their comrades go down to injury tonight.
Yeah, you're just hoping that those are just those day-to-day things and nothing major for these Vikings players that we saw injured tonight, because they're going to need all hands on deck when they travel up to Dwyer Field to take on Coach Kastner's team 55, I believe it is this year.
So once again, our final score from Princeton High School, the Sycamore Aviators 49, the Princeton Vikings 14. For our producer, Jason Dudley, for my partner, Glenn Olson, for all the cast and crew, I am Dave Borst, saying we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is ICRC-TV Sports, the high school football game of the week. See you next time, everybody.